Did you know? The strong economic growth in Southeast Asia is creating a shift in labour market needs. Industrialisation and technological development lead to a growing demand for skilled engineers. For fresh graduates looking for a job, this means increased competition as more and more engineers arrive on the labour market. To get ahead of the competition, soft skills are a highly valued asset in the eyes of employers and can truly make the difference. Improving engineers' employability with multi-competencies, knowledge and opportunities is the aim of the European project Gecko to meet these labour market's new requirements. Through exchange of good practices between 8 Asian and 5 European universities, Gecko aims to enrich engineering courses through a multi-skill approach in the Philippines, Thailand and Indonesia. How will Gecko boost soft skills training? The idea is to develop an innovative learning experience in which courses will mix digital modules and experience-based learning. Students from the Philippines, Thailand and Indonesia will form international teams to work on case studies together. Selected teams will get a chance to meet in person during a summer school where they will be able to present their project. For future engineers in the region, this learning experience is a great opportunity for them, as they will get a chance to broaden their professional network and acquire a variety of soft skills in a multicultural environment. What about the private sector? The Gecko project offers a chance to help shape engineering courses to better meet their expectations in terms of graduate skill sets. And for other universities in Southeast Asia, increasing regional cooperation is also one of the goals of the project. Universities are encouraged to expand on the Gecko experience and network to develop similar initiatives in the region. Want to know what the project can offer you and how to get involved? Write us or visit the website. Did you know? The strong economic growth in Southeast Asia is creating a shift in labour market needs. Industrialisation and technological development lead to a growing demand for skilled engineers. For fresh graduates looking for a job, this means increased competition as more and more engineers arrive on the labour market. To get ahead of the competition, soft skills are a highly valued asset in the eyes of employers and can truly make the difference. Improving engineers' employability with multi-competencies, knowledge and opportunities is the aim of the European project Gecko to meet these labour market's new requirements. Through exchange of good practices between 8 Asian and 5 European universities, Gecko aims to enrich engineering courses through a multi-skill approach in the Philippines, Thailand and Indonesia. How will Gecko boost soft skills training? The idea is to develop an innovative learning experience in which courses will mix digital modules and experience-based learning. Students from the Philippines, Thailand and Indonesia will form international teams to work on case studies together. Selected teams will get a chance to meet in person during a summer school where they will be able to present their project. For future engineers in the region, this learning experience is a great opportunity for them, as they will get a chance to broaden their professional network and acquire a variety of soft skills in a multicultural environment. What about the private sector? The Gecko project offers a chance to help shape engineering courses to better meet their expectations in terms of graduate skill sets. And for other universities in Southeast Asia, increasing regional cooperation is also one of the goals of the project. Universities are encouraged to expand on the Gecko experience and network to develop similar initiatives in the region. Want to know what the project can offer you and how to get involved? Write us or visit the website. Did you know? The strong economic growth in Southeast Asia is creating a shift in labour market needs. Industrialisation and technological development lead to a growing demand for skilled engineers. For fresh graduates looking for a job, this means increased competition as more and more engineers arrive on the labour market. To get ahead of the competition, soft skills are a highly valued asset in the eyes of employers and can truly make the difference. Improving engineers' employability with multi-competencies, knowledge and opportunities is the aim of the European project Gecko to meet these labour market's new requirements. Through exchange of good practices between 8 Asian and 5 European universities, Gecko aims to enrich engineering courses through a multi-skill approach in the Philippines, Thailand and Indonesia. How will Gecko boost soft skills training? The idea is to develop an innovative learning experience in which courses will mix digital modules and experience-based learning. Students from the Philippines, Thailand and Indonesia will form international teams to work on case studies together. Selected teams will get a chance to meet in person during a summer school where they will be able to present their project. For future engineers in the region, this learning experience is a great opportunity for them, as they will get a chance to broaden their professional network and acquire a variety of soft skills in a multicultural environment. What about the private sector? The Gecko project offers a chance to help shape engineering courses to better meet their expectations in terms of graduate skill sets. And for other universities in Southeast Asia, increasing regional cooperation
Welcome to the closing program of the 2021 Gecko Challenge. And I'm Fitri Trapsilawati from Universitas Gadjah Mada, hosting live from Yogyakarta, Indonesia. We are firstly very sorry for the technical problem earlier, and we've got a jam-packed next 2 hours with all your pitch presentations, an address from our keynote speakers, and of course, the announcement of the winning team. Like in the 2 programs we had earlier in this week, we will be having questions and answer portions towards the end of this program with our keynote address at the end of this program and right after his address. And you may already send in your questions via the Q&A button found in the Zoom users dashboard. And for viewers on Facebook, you can type in your questions in the comment sections, and please do not forget to state your school, and we will screen, select, and answer the questions during the Q&A portion. Okay, and let's get going with some words from the lead university of the Gecko project. Okay, please welcome Associate Professors of the IAE School of Management of the University of Montpellier, Mr. Emmanuel Jose. Mr. Emmanuel, please.
Thank you, Fitri. Good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank Switzerland and University of the Philippines teams for this amazing Gecko Challenge 2021. Thank you also to the mentors and the facilitators for all the time spending with our students and all the high-level keynote speakers of this week. I would like to thank in advance the jury members. And for sure, I would like to thank all the students of the amazing project that you have built. Indeed, I would like also to deeply thank all of my Gecko colleagues. It's fantastic for me to see what have happened in the last few years. Not only the development of 3 digital models, but we also develop an international team of colleagues who want and now enjoy working together. To tell you the truth, it's really great to see you online this week, even if I miss seeing you face to face. Okay, let's come back on Gecko project. An important part of this project is sustainability. We will talk about sustainability of Gecko project later, but the most important sustainability is sustainability of our planet. And for that, we need to congratulate all of the 8 teams. When we listen to them, we understand that they already have core value that fit with sustainability. It can be concerning waste of products, of water quality. It can be to help rural population. It can be also to help poor people by providing food or education, or to help about vaccination or nutrition. All of the projects try to help people. I know that we will get more details about the A project very soon, and we'll watch the pitch this afternoon. But before the result, I believe all of the 8 teams already did an amazing work. Concerning the sustainability of Gecko, I listened carefully this week, and we are all talking about Gecko Challenge 2021. This could mean that we all expect to work together for Gecko Challenge 2022 or later on. It will be a fantastic result if we can work even after the official end of Gecko in October 2021 to improve the digital module even more and organize each year a Gecko Challenge. I strongly believe that we can do that as all of us used to work together for more than 3 years, and we can now be totally proud of our work and the result of our students. Moreover, sustainability may also mean to work on Gecko 2. As you know, our last meeting will be in October. Maybe we all need to think about what we would like to do, developing more models, opening our consortium to more university or to more country. What we can do for the challenge of Gecko. It will be an open discussion, but I strongly have the feeling that we need to work on the next capacity building like Gecko 2. Again, I want to deeply thank you everyone, and I am very excited to discover the pitch of the student. So now I will let Fitri to explain us how it will work. Thank you, Fitri. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jose. All right, moving right along, let me give you some updates about the Gecko Challenge. First, we would like to congratulate all the students who have been working so very hard to give their best for the 8 activities, from defining the team organizations to preparing the page. And we are so amazed that all groups have come up with very great solutions. And we have 8 teams giving the solutions for the SDGs, covering environmental to hunger issues, as Mr. Jose mentioned just now. Now, let me read through the competition rules and also the criteria for judging, then introduce our panels of judges afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to read through the competition rule first. Each team is to upload their pitch presentation deck and their posters using the submission being provided by 11 Philippine time or 10 a.m. in the China time. And I do believe that they have done so. And second, each team is also to state the name of the pitch presenters, which when they submit the above. And I do believe that they have done so as well. And posters prepared by each team will be forwarded to the jurors before the start of the closing program as additional information about the team's innovation. Okay, and the order of presentation will be determined during a Zoom meeting with organizers at 10:30 Indochina time or 11:30 Philippine time using an electronic list randomizer. Then we already got the presentation sequence. All right, and the fifth, during the pitch presentation, each team will be given exactly sharp 3 minutes to present their pitch, okay? And this will immediately be followed by 7 minutes of Q&A with the jurors. So once your 3 minutes of fame ends, I will just cut it out. Okay, students? All right, 6, a link to Google Forms containing the score sheet to be used by the jurors will be provided in advance, and I do believe that the jurors have already received this. And next, the ratings from the jurors are automatically captured and averaged using Google Workspace. And teams are then ranked based on the average of the jurors' ratings. And the ranking and consolidated scores will be communicated to the jurors for validation through Fiverr. Okay, and in case of a tie, the jurors will be asked to deliberate and vote for the winning team. And I do believe that it's going to be a very hard task for them. And the decisions of the jurors is final. And lastly, the chair of the panel of jurors will announce the winning team near the end of the program. So please stay tuned and wait for it, okay? And the criteria for judging, meanwhile, is divided into 4 categories, which are innovation, impact, implementations, and presentations. And for the innovations, it's going to consist of 30 points, 15 points of which is for the need. So does the project identify a compelling need and present a clear solution to a local or global challenge? And the other half of it is going to be for the originality. So is the idea driving the project bold or fresh? And then we have 30 points for impacts, okay? For the 10 points for the growth and also sustainability and metrics respectively. And it is about, is the potential for the concept to grow or scale explained? And does the project demonstrate the ability to sustain itself in the long term? And lastly, are the metrics for measuring impact and success explained? And also, 15 points will be allocated for implementations in terms of the feasibility. Is the implementation feasible and it is well thought out by the students? And lastly, we have 15 points for presentations, and you have to actually give clear presentations, consistent and effective. So the jurors will be judging you whether your overall presentation is clear, consistent, and effective. Okay, and further, when it comes to the scales of rating, we have 2 types. Okay, 10 scales and 15-point scales. Okay, I hope these criteria and rules energize you guys and the participants. And now allow me to introduce our distinguished panel of jurors. The first one, Dr. Maria Regina Justina, a full-time professor at the Department of Information System and Computer Science at Ateneo de Manila University. She founded the Ateneo Social Computing Laboratory in 2012 with the goal of developing social computing platforms for social good. And she has been managing the Ateneo Centers for Computer Competencies and Research, and formerly called as the Ateneo Java Wireless Competency Center since 2007. It's some time ago. And Dr. Rina co-founded 2 platforms, Blue EHR, which is an electronic medical record platform that facilitates the digitizations of health records in rural health facilities, and Tugun.ph, which is an SMS web-based incident monitoring platform that is currently being used for reporting and monitoring human rights violations. So in recognition of her work, she becomes a Towns awardee. What is Towns? Towns is the Outstanding Woman in Nations Service. Wow. For Science and Technology in 2019. And also Senior Fellow by the Philippine Public Safety College in 2020. She is currently the program manager of Faster Disease Surveillance Platform, which is the official disease modeling platform of the DOH of COVID-19 surveillance. Really, our jury is so amazing. Dr. Rina obtained her doctoral degree in psychology and master degree in computer science at the Ateneo de Manila University. And everyone, once again, one of our jurors, Dr. Rina.
Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon, Dr. Rina. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next, we move to the next juror. We also have Liris Madu Ningtyas. She is the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of Jala Tech. This is a data-driven company that provides service for aquaculture, mainly shrimp, based in Yogyakarta, Indonesia. And Jala provides IoT, or Internet of Things, something that is very hot right now, water quality monitoring systems for pond-based farming with a net funds farm management platform. As C-level woman leader, she is recognized as one of the leading entrepreneurs in aquaculture industry. And this year, she was listed in the Forbes 30 under 30 in industry, manufacturing, and energy. So she is under 30 years old right now. She's quite young. Okay. She earned her degree in electrical engineering from Gajah Mada University, then worked in Slumbershi for 1 year before joining the fellow graduates of UGM to establish Ethnic, which is the startup that created the Jala for shrimp farmers. Okay, once again, that is Miss Liris, one of our distinguished jurors. Hello, Miss Liris. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fitri. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Nice to be
here.
Thank you. Yeah.
She's really young, right? Okay. Next, last and the least, joining us is the chair of the panel of jurors, Dr. Bodin Rasa Mithes. Dr. Bodin is an associate professor at Kasetsart University, Bangkok, Thailand, and he's the acting deputy secretary of the General Southern Border Provinces Administrative Centers of Thailand. And he is also independent director of the Electricity Generating Public Company Limited, Thailand. He now serves as Dean of the Faculty of Business Administrations and also former vice president of Sri Raja campus of Kasetsart University. And also, he was a former advisor to the Ministers of Agriculture and Cooperatives and Deputy Ministers of Transportations in Thailand. So he has really broad of experiences. And Dr. Rasa Mithes has been working in technology management, including electronic commerce, information technology, rural informatics, and supply chain management, both in public and also private firms, overseeing the planning, maintenance, operations of information systems of his clients in the business world. And accomplished academic, he has published more than 100 articles in reference journals and 5 books, aside from 100 articles over in magazines, serving as a columnist in Bloomberg Thailand Business Week. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, the chair of the panel of jurors, Dr. Rasa Mithes. Hello, Dr. Borden. How are you?
How are you?
Very much.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to be here. And at least you cannot say that I'm young.
Okay. Yeah. What I can say is that you have a very really broad experience, like really wide coverage of experience, and we do believe that you will be giving your best to be the juror today. Thank you very much, Dr. Borden. All right, now that we know the criteria for judging and who the judges are, it is time to put them into work mode. Okay, this is probably the most exciting part, not only of today's program, but of the entire week. And this is it, students. Hello. It's your time to present the ideas you've been working on this past 5 days. Okay, and just a reminder, each team is given just 3 minutes, just 3 minutes to present your pitch presentation, okay? Followed by 7 minutes of Q&A with the jurors for a total 10 minutes. So once the 3 minutes of fame ends, I'll just cut it out, okay? So please manage your time very wisely, students. Okay, I trust that you are all ready to make that your 10 minutes of fame. Good luck to everyone. Let's begin. Now, Team E, the floor is yours. 3 minutes. We are going to see the, yes. Okay, we are going to see the timer as well. The 3 minutes for the Team E. Team E, please.
Okay, so good afternoon. We are the QE company, and we would like to address the problem of world hunger. This was the issue chosen as world population continues to grow. With an increase in population comes an increase in the demand for food and nutrition. This in turn poses a threat and a serious challenge in the production of sufficient food. If left unchecked, the supply would not be enough to meet the global demand and would cause a bigger hunger problem. So what we propose is an alternative to this issue. One alternative that is abundant in our nature and ecosystem. We propose to use insects as food. So why insects, you may be asking? Well, currently, there are many edible insects around the world that is processed into food. Approximately 1,000 to 2,000 different species are consumed around the world. These could vary from beetles, grasshoppers, crickets, or ants. Next would be the beneficial nutritional content it provides. Some provide higher amount of calcium than milk or higher protein than cows. And finally, it is cheaper to produce due to its abundance in nature. These critters could also be bred in farms to easily replenish supply. So the product we would want to produce would be a snack bar. It would come in a biodegradable package. Next would be our product variation. We would like to introduce different blends to cater to different allergies our customers could possibly have. The snack bar flavors would also be dependent on where it would be sold, as we would like for its taste to be catered to locals. So it's going to be in local flavors. Ingredients per product would also vary with respect to the culture and religion of where we would sell it. So our who for the product would be uh, a mix of these three categories. So first would be athletes who consume this for the high nutritional value and an alternative to those in the market. And next would be the kids, because we have seen that kids eat anything, and this could be a healthier substitute for their snacks. And finally, the curious and adventurous people who would wonder what it would taste like. Now imagine, we currently live in a world where people have staples in food. But what if we disrupt that norm and add insects into the picture? We have mentioned its health benefits, but having this alternative also saves the environment. Grazing livestock produce an equivalent of 3.1 gigatons of CO2 into the atmosphere annually, and we could reduce this with our proposed alternative. So what are you waiting for? Just eat it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Team E. Yeah, we have Team E here, Hassan, Sirasop, Suchaya, Nantip, Jerry. All right, so juror, please, your turn.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, but you're on mute. I think you are on mute. Yeah, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
cool. That's a very cool idea, sort of like a box bar. How do you come up with this idea? That's number one. And then we know that in Asia, a lot of people are also eating pots in some regions, and but not in the sort of like a city centers. How do you promote box bar, on the city centers target customers? There's two questions for you.
Okay, so we first came up with the idea because we have seen that there are a lot of areas with famine. So that's our main goal. And the issue, we saw that there's hunger everywhere. So by having this alternative, it provides those areas with a chance to get the nutritional value that's being provided that they could be missing out of. And next, to promote it into city areas, if I heard that correctly. Can you reiterate the second question? Sorry.
Yeah. So I know that in some area in Asia, they also eat insects, but sort of
Yes.
like in a rural area. And it's not very popular in the city centers. How do you, how is your strategy to promote your product in the city center?
Ah, so our strategy to promote it into the city center would be showing it as a snack bar, a snack bar that's an alternative to the ones you can see in supermarkets. Those organic ones are those one made of fruits. So by providing this alternative, maybe we can attract customers by their curiosity and saying, "Oh, it's made of insects. Maybe I want to try it out." And since we already planned that its taste will be catered to local flavors, so if we were to sell it to somewhere in the like the Philippines, maybe an ube flavored snack bar would be such.
Okay, thank you. I think that's for Miss Lyris and maybe other jurors, Dr. Maria.
Yes, good afternoon. I would like to ask if you already have a plan on the production side. I mean, how long will it take to produce this product? If your goal is to address hunger, and then second, what is its value over regular food? I mean, which is probably more accessible to a lot of people who are hungry.
Okay, so how we see the production for this would be in terms of mass production, since how these would be made would be in large areas. So how we're gonna introduce the ingredients, like these insects will be crushed together into a mixture, and thus that will be forming the snack bar. And from there, it will be mass produced, maybe sell it through supermarkets, convenience stores, and from there, that's how we intend to reach our consumer base. Um, Compared to other more traditional meals, we've seen that the amount of protein or calcium that these insects offer are equal or maybe more than them, and we see this as a uh, potential growth in the industry, and we want we want to actually for people to actually explore this also as an option, as a valid option for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maria. Dr. Borden, your turn.
Yes, your programs seem to be very interesting. However, could you elaborate on how you will get other stakeholder to get involved into your project? Because you have, government, Food and Drug Administration, you have scientists, you have suppliers. There's many parties involved. I mean, in terms of mechanism or the way to do this, because the application like this, is it's not new. Okay, maybe not this one, but theoretical speaking, the idea has been in place, but very difficult to implement.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate on how you can get all stakeholders working together?
Uh, Potentially, what we could do to get more stakeholders would, for the government, maybe we could create a program as a feeding program, maybe for the people, and by uh, donate these products to those areas that are maybe having a lot of famine and such, and um, hmm, our other stakeholder would be our suppliers, aka the ones that will be supplying us with the ingredients and such. How we can get them on board is maybe providing them subsidies and such for the growth of these.
Is that enough, Dr.
Okay,
Bodin?
that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tim
Fitri,
Curie.
can I add one more question?
Sure, please.
About the competitions, like bugs bar, like insect bar, you have your own competitors, right? So there's insect bar. I noticed that already made salt in European market. How do you want to compete with those insect bar? I think if I remember correctly, the name is insect bar.
I want to introduce this more to an Asian market because I see this Asians are more open to this kind of cuisine, and it's not very strange for them to consume these uh, types of products as well. And um, yeah, we would aim it towards the more Asian market.
But what is your advantage? Like, I think, what is your uniqueness compared to this insect bar?
Maybe our uniqueness would be on how we're selling it. Maybe in terms of the different flavors that we're gonna be selling, or maybe the different benefits that we could offer per bar, rather than one bar having just X amount of nutrients and such. What we would want is for us to cater to the tastes of where we sell it, and hopefully that can bring us success.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, jurors. Thank you, Tim Curies. Maybe you would like to make a strawberry insect bar. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And let's move on to give a round of applause for them, guys. Okay, we move on to next team, which is Team H, Jarvis. We have Adi, we have Diskern, we have Dumaton, and also we have Sheena, and we have Carl, Andrew, and we have John here. Okay, so Team H, yeah, you can wait for the timer. Okay, okay, I think the timer is there. Okay, yes, please.
So the world produces 1.6 million tons of plastic waste per day. Next. And by 2050, there will be more plastic by weight than fish in the oceans. Next. Globally, 1.3 billion tons of food is wasted per year. Next. And approximately 3.4 billion face masks and shields are discarded every day since the start of the pandemic. Next. And in 2020, around 40 million people in Southeast Asia came online for the first time. Next. All of these are seemingly unrelated problems that the world faces today. But I am here to tell you that we have one simple solution to help alleviate all of these. Let me introduce to you all the Elon mask. Next, please. So what we have come up with is a biodegradable transparent face mask that is made from food and agricultural waste. The mask is lightweight, foldable, and breathable, perfect for everyday use with a filtration efficiency of 95%. This aims to reduce the amount of plastic and agricultural waste around the world, whilst encouraging more meaningful interactions and safety. Next slide. So to make the mask, starch is extracted from the agri or food waste, which will then be fermented to produce polylactic acid. The polylactic acid will then be used as the raw material for the mask. Then, using the electrospinning technology, we will create fine meshes that is layered to create the final product. Next slide. The transparent design is also able to aid those with hearing and speaking disabilities in communicating better with the aid of facial expressions, along with the general need for the greater population and getting any form of connection in these trying times. Next. So with the Elon mask, if we are able to produce 25% as much as the total plastic mass production of our 3 countries, we will be able to save as much as 23% of the marine life around us. We will also be able to decrease 2% of total food and agricultural waste in the Philippines, Thailand, and Indonesia. Next slide. But you may be asking, Won't that just die out in a year or so after the pandemic is over? Next slide. So the answer is no. Masks are here to stay, especially for hospitals. Next slide, please. So the filtration level of the ELA mask is high enough to become surgical grade and can be used in hospitals daily. Next slide. Studies have shown that doctors who wear transparent face masks build a better rapport with their patients as opposed to the normal face mask. In an industry where empathy is vital, the ELA mask will provide them with a much needed extra layer of connection. And now you might be thinking, just masks, is that the end of our idea? Well, it isn't, because we believe that the road to sustainability is a gradual one. And while we can't doubt that the pandemic is a huge crisis, we see it as a huge opportunity. Much like the Black Death is in leading the Industrial Revolution, we believe that the COVID-19 pandemic has the potential to drive the sustainable revolution. Because we don't want to stop at just masks, we want to make this much further than that. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. All right, the time is up. Great, Tim Jarvis. And now let's go back to our panels of jurors. Please, who's going to be the first one? Maybe Dr. Bodin first. Hello, Dr.
Okay, yeah. Okay, this is also very interesting. Okay, but in terms of idea is very good, but because right now you have a lot of masks coming out, you have LG that have a what they call ventilation. Okay, that deal with, and then how can you bring this and compete into the market once you launch it?
We believe that this can compete with the normal masks in the market because this actually has a 95% filtration rate, which is the same amount as the normal surgical blue or white mask that we typically wear. So this actually is as good as the mask that we typically have. And it's also better than fabric masks and some of the filtration masks that are out in the market right now.
Okay, that's fine for me. Just one patient. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bodin. Yes, Dr. Maria, please. Dr. Rina, sorry.
Yes, I'm curious about the production time. How long will it take to produce a mask? If you're going to scale it, will you be able to produce for a large market?
Yes, we do believe we'll be able to scale this. We actually did some research, and around to produce 1 pound of polylactic acid, it costs around $1. So it is a viable option for us, especially since a mask doesn't weigh that much. So it would be easy to produce and cheap to produce as well.
Would you need special equipment aside from producing the material? The raw material is very clear, but how will you now do the assembly line?
So to create the actual mask, it's made from a 3D printer. So it does the electrospinning for us, and it creates like multiple layers for the filtration to work properly.
Okay, so you need a lot of 3D printers.
Yeah, but I think it doesn't take as much time to make one mask. So one 3D printer can make like a lot of masks in a day.
Okay, one last. How long will it take to make one using your 3D printer?
This one, I'm not sure. Let's just see if my group mates have an answer.
Okay, we'll wait for that one. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Dave Santos from Team H. We have calculated that using a hobbyist 3D printer, we can create a mask with all of its specifications at about 1 hour. But we can, if we industrialized it, we will be able to make it in a shorter time and we'll be able to produce in a bulk. So we'll be able to cater in the global market.
Thank you.
Also, I would like to add on, sorry, for financial aspect. I think that it will cost expensive, but we will reduce the cost by selling the PLA, polylactic acid, as raw materials for all 3D printers, or maybe another needs for other industries like creative industry, especially. We can also make biodegradable plastics for any products, and we also sell that to reduce our manufacturing cost. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Team H. Ms. Laris?
Yeah, so this is a degradable mask. Yeah, I think it's really cool. How long is it going to be degradable when it's disposed?
This can actually be degraded like 90 days, but this typically takes like an industrial level composter. So what we're planning for this is that we'll be having bins or like a collection method so that after people use the mask, they'll be able to give it back to us so that we can compost it ourselves. So that will be properly composted and we're sure that there won't be any of the mask left afterwards.
And how long it can be used? Is it a one-time mask, or is it like you can use this type of mask for a couple days, 3 days, and yeah, how long
We
is it going to be used?
May I answer
we
this?
oh yeah, go, sorry, good.
Yeah. Okay. So much like the N95 masks that are in production right now, it is recommended to be a single time use mask. But we have currently technologies that will be able to be safely reused, like the UV lights and the using alcohol to rinse it and such. And it will, since it is made from polylactic acid, it will not be dissolvable by water or alcohol and other linear hydrocarbons. So it will be, the structural integrity of the mask will retain itself. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
George, do you have any more questions? No, I think they are satisfied with your answers, Team H. Thank you very much. Give a round of applause
Thank you
to
so much.
H. Jarvis.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the next team. It's going to be Team A, J Pink. Yeah, we have Natacom here and also other teams. Okay. All right. Please wait a moment. Yeah. Okay. Yes, you can start now.
All right. Okay. Next slide, please. So this is Juan de la Cruz. He is currently a grade 6 student. He comes from a family of farmers and does not take his study seriously, as he often thinks, why should I even study when I could already help my family through work? And furthermore, due to the lack of infrastructure, it further demotivates him to study. This is the norm in rural, next slide, please. This is the norm in rural areas of our country. We notice there is a lack of infrastructure, unmotivated students, low literacy rate, and furthermore, even if they would want to study, they lack the access to it. Next slide, please. Because of this, we propose EduQ, a government-sponsored system where qualified college students would be able to volunteer and gain teaching experience by teaching grade school to high school students in rural areas. They will become a student's study buddy while delivering to them the modules and help facilitate learning. Next slide. So you might wonder, how can we make this a reality? So here we have the volunteer process. Students would be able to apply through an interview and written test, just like a job interview. After it, they would be able to access the EduQ platform, which is the next a one-stop shop where they can access teacher modules and classroom management. Third is enlistment, where volunteers could enlist to their chosen school. And next is the engagement season. Each engagement season would last 2 to 3 months with a group of 3 to 5 students. And finally, to help the volunteer understand the needs of the students, we created dashboards with their mentees' academic profiles. So next slide, please. So this is our website. So we created a space where volunteers would be able to learn how to join. Next slide, please. So here's another frame of our website with the registration process. So next slide, please. So this is the EduQ platform. Once they can log in, then they can also see their profile on the right. They can also customize this profile. Next slide, please. So next is the trading modules, where the volunteer teacher and the dashboards of each and every student is. Next slide. So next is the chatbot. If students have any questions for the volunteer, and if they're not there, they can use the chatbot. And here's on the right is how do you enlist to a certain school. Next slide. So finally, we have the social community, where volunteers can share their experiences and give advice to other volunteers as well. Next slide, please. So of course, we would like to talk about the benefits of the program. First would be the volunteers, who will get the salary as well as certificate to help build their personal profile, and in addition, complete college units if applicable to their specialization. Next, students will get mentors and guides, and for the government, the government, as this would help the overall economy of the country. And finally, universities, which would gain better reputation due to outreach programs. Next slide, please. So this is the team. There is me, the CEO, Alia, the CPO, Kirk and Natacom, the CTOs, on the PR lead, and Udo, our CMO, and our esteemed mentor,
Okay,
Dr.
thanks. Thank you. All right, yeah. That's really great. Thank you, Tim J Ping, Tim A, J Ping. And now we move on to the panel of jurors. And it's very interesting that we have the healthcare and we have the food, the insect bar, and now we have the education issues. It's really nice. Okay, now we move on to the panels of jurors, please. Yeah, maybe I would like to invite Dr. Rina to firstly give a question.
Okay. That is a very nice application. But for developing countries, the challenge has always been the internet.
Yes.
Right? And we have experienced it. Testing out the internet
Yes.
during this pandemic. So how will you address that? Your product relies on the internet, right?
Yeah. Yes. So that's where we took a different approach to it. So the reason why the application's more focused on the teacher volunteers rather than the students itself is because we thought that college students would have the infrastructure, the internet, to be able to see the modules, and like actually monitor the students like um progress through an app. So which is why we took a different side approach rather than like addressing the rural the places where there's no internet. We're trying to help train, help volunteer students be the ones to technically bring the infrastructure there. So yeah, that's how we thought of a solution for that like infrastructure problem, which is very hard to do to accomplish.
Just to clarify, your answer is to train the trainers, and the trainers will be the ones who will go physically to these other communities.
Yes. Yes. This solution is more, I'd say more of post pandemic. I'd say, since like as of now we couldn't do anything like this due to the pandemic, right? But once like the situation gets better, I think it's very possible. As we've already seen, like there are things like NSTP where like college in the Philippines there's a program called NSTP where college students actually go and like sometimes teach to different schools. We want to make it more longer, make it more personal. So we made it like a study buddy. We also made it more that the volunteers also get trained better, and hopefully this could also help like people to be more motivated to study, to have a better education. Because like one big problem as well is like there it's unfortunate that some people don't value education as much. So we want to show them why like education's a valuable thing for them, right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rina. Maybe Dr. Bordin, please.
Okay, this is also very interesting. However, just one quick question, because there are many off-the-shelf platform, okay, that people can use. How can you encourage people to use this one? I mean, because this is basically it's good platform, but it's basically is nothing extraordinary in the sense that you can use off the rack platform.
Oh, okay. The reason why we weren't able to get this slide, so the reason why we wanted to have this platform is because we wanted to connect we wanted to partner up with government institutions to help address public schools, like public school. I mean, those schools in like rural areas, focused on them because they don't have the capacity, or they don't have the capacity. Most don't have the capacity to use these like off-the-shelf platforms, right? So we wanted to partner up with the government and help those schools without infrastructure have like a sort of connection with someone from like from the urban areas, and have more of an exchange and like learn more through that exchange, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Borden. Yeah, next, Miss Laris, please.
Okay, so
It didn't get me quite clear. Who is your target customers?
So for our target customer as of now would be either NGOs or government, because we wanted to pitch this idea of like connecting people, connecting students with connecting college students with grade school, high school students from the rural areas. So example of this would be Teach for the Philippines, which is an NGO, or the Department of Education. So yes.
Who do you, who will pay your services?
We were thinking that we would do a government contract in terms of like funding and for the capital to create the different processes needed to create this.
Right. So if you pitch to government, how many chance? So what is the chance that the government will copy your solution instead and build it by themselves instead using your solution? So what will you bring?
I think the thing that we would bring is like since we have a mentor and we have a team, I think it's more of the expertise of like designing it and knowing what needs to be done, right? And also we also believe that another thing is that um yeah, like it's really more of that, I'd say, now that I think of it. Yeah, it's more of like we're the team, like we're a team that's like really interested and really passionate for this. So um I mean, if the government gets it, like it's still good, because like at least there's something being happening, like something happening to society, and like we're still being able to push through with the SGD, right? So at least in our part, it's still good in a sense that the government takes it. We're just like in our, we just want to follow through the goal of having quality education uh, in the countries. So yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. It seems that they are going to be a non-profit organization. Thank you so much. All right, thank you, Joris, and also thank you, Team AJ Ping. Very nice, Acham. All right, now we still have like time, but we need to move on to the next group. And next group will be Team G, or the name is Team Titans. And yeah, we have Rosa, Jude, Lynn, Ice, Glenn, and Pram. And please wait a minute for the timer to appear. Yes, time's yours. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am from Team Titans. Next slide, please. All of us want to live healthy lives. We want to be free from sickness so that we can pursue our dreams for ourselves and society. This aspiration is SDG 3, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being. But this SDG is under attack because of the current pandemic. Next slide. I'm sure you've asked yourself this question. When will this pandemic end? Next. When will all this pain end? Next slide, please. But did you ever ask yourself, what is really going on right now? Next slide, please. The diagram on the left shows you that healthcare facilities around the world need that amount of medical supplies every month. Global demand is so big that the WHO calls on everyone to increase manufacturing by 40%. It's no surprise then that many areas in the world experience a shortage of life-saving medical supplies. Next slide, please. Thailand, for example, is at risk of medical supply shortage. Patients with mild symptoms are encouraged to be treated at home due to bed shortages. This means that local healthcare facilities will expect higher demands for medical supplies. Next slide. Given the problem of medical supply shortage being faced by Thailand, our team has come up with a solution called CareDrop to make care within reach. Next slide. CareDrop is an online mobile application that connects medical institutions to legitimate suppliers of medical equipment. Next, our target customers are employees of small-scale medical institutions in Thailand who need to comply with the needs of medical equipment. Next, the next slide will show you how CareDrop service works. As you can see in the picture, our service works like popular marketplace apps like Lazada and Shopee. Next slide, please. So when we developed the service, we actually benchmarked with competitors that provide an online marketplace for medical supplies. Next slide, please. So what makes CareDrop a unique service? It is an exclusive one-stop shop for medical supplies. Products are 100% available and of trusted quality. These 5 sample panes on the board show you how CareDrop would look like. So the first pane is the login page. The second pane shows a diverse product catalog. The last 3 panes are like 3 sample panes from 3 different users' perspectives. So one is from the customer point of view where one can order. The fourth one is the supplier point of view where the suppliers of the medical equipment can track where their goods are going. And lastly, the rightmost part is for the administrator point of view of the application itself. Next slide, please. So ladies and gentlemen, together, through CareDrop, we can make care within reach and be one step closer to a pandemic-resilient society. Thank you so much, and my team is now ready to entertain your questions.
Thank you very much, Team G, Team Titans. All right, let's go to the panel of jurors. Maybe Miss Liris, you can be the first one asking the question.
You mentioned that your uniqueness is actually specific product to medical people that needs medical equipment. You create a marketplace. What is your business model? Where do you get your money from? I mean, like, get your profit from? And the second questions would be, what is your marketing strategy? Because you are targeting a niche market, which is the medical people only. So what's your marketing strategy? So that's the question.
Okay, so for the business model question, if you are a small scale medical institution in Thailand, it's very difficult to connect with the big suppliers of medical supplies. So basically the value that we want to bring here is we want to make their lives a little bit easier by us actually accumulating all options of medical supply providers and give them this list so that they can actually see that, oh, this is the better choice, this is not that one. Because the problem right now is there's no one-stop shop for medical supplies when you want some medical supplies, and especially in the political context of Thailand. I think one of my group mates said that the government has some sort of a bit huge control in terms of the procurement of medical supplies and vaccines. So the business model would really come on an additional fee towards the products that these small-scale medical institutions would acquire from us. And for the marketing strategy, it would be that, as I've mentioned earlier, the value proposition of consolidating everything that is related towards medical supplies into one place. So I hope I've answered.
Yeah, like, are you going to online marketing? Are you going to one by one visiting medical facilities?
Yes, we would be going to personal marketing, but here the personal marketing would be us towards the medical institutions.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Dr. Rina?
Yeah, as maybe on the business side, as a supplier, I would probably choose your platform and other platforms. But why will I stay in your platform? Because I don't think it's a choice of just choosing one platform. If I am a seller of products, I will put it everywhere, right? But why will I stay in your platform? What is the value added services?
Okay, so one of the main selling points that I have mentioned in one of the slides is that products are of 100% availability because, of course, it's all medical equipment related and it's of trusted quality. And what this means is that if you are a medical institution, then of course you would be attracted to a place or a service who is an expert on that particular niche. And this increased enthusiasm towards this service, because it's a one-stop shop, I hope it would be a demand that would be maintained over time. And hopefully that would be like a good point for providers of medical supplies to stay with us in the service as partners.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Dr. Bordin, please.
Okay, this is also interesting. However, in terms of liability, because you're dealing with medical products, okay? So if something go well, it's okay. But if there's something wrong, then liability will probably fall on you. So how would you tackle that situation if something go wrong?
Well, yes, of course. SDG number 3, ensuring healthy lives. It's a very delicate responsibility that a company should actually bring, and we need to be careful in all aspects of our supply chain delivery. So, if ever this idea would be implemented, of course, we will ensure that we would only hire the best people in the field and really ensure that nothing bad will go along the way, because as I've mentioned, it's really a very delicate job. And we mentioned earlier that our selling point really is that products are of high caliber quality. It's always available. So of course we need people who are knowledgeable in the field of selling these medical supplies to be on board with us in the company.
Any more questions? We still have 2 minutes from jurors. No? All right, I think it's enough for Team G, Team Titans. Thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, that's great. Yeah, we have now to move on to the Team D, boys plus 1. I do believe that the one is the girl here. Okay, so please, Team D boys plus 1. Yeah, time's yours.
Good day, everyone. I'm Carl De Leon, representative for Team D, the Boys Plus One, and today I will be sharing with you our innovation in tackling the Sustainable Development Goal of Zero Hunger. Next slide, please. Did you know that children, babies, and kids are one of the most affected by the problem posed by malnutrition? Of course you did, and so did we, as it's practically common knowledge in this day and age to know about this topic. However, what always escapes view is the reality of the situation. Just earlier, when I said the words children, babies, and kids, you probably imagined someone like her, looking at you longingly. But in reality, next slide please, they could look like someone like him, skin to the bones, in pain, and direly in need of your aid. Slide click please. Malnutrition is a real problem. 1 in 5 children suffer from it globally, and that's over 150 million kids, 25 of which looks exactly like what you see in my presentation. And if that isn't enough to convince you about the gravity of the problem at hand, then know that, slide click please, 5 in 10 children, 50% of children's deaths under the age of 5 is actually from malnutrition, from something as quote unquote simple as malnutrition. Slide click please. One of our team members, Leon, actually shared to our team about his opportunity to meet one of these children in a far rural area in Indonesia. That a 1-year-old child that he met looked somewhat like what you see on the screen and was only being fed a small amount of instant porridge for her daily meals. It was easy for us to say that her diet needs to change, but then we realized to what? We realized that we did not know what food or nutrients needed to be prioritized in a child's well-being. Sure, we knew milk, but outside of that, it was really hard for us to give anything specific with regards to the input regarding the child's diet, especially knowing that the family was on a budget. With that, we reached our problem statement on how do we help in the educational aspect in knowing what nutrients should be prioritized and the accessibility aspect of knowing how these nutrients should be prioritized. Introducing Newbie, your quick nutrition guide for kids. Our solidified app helps a parent or a humanitarian volunteer quickly calculate the nutritional benefits for meals in real time, whether offline or online. Not only this, it is also simple to use and smart in the way that it allows you to know different aspects of nutrition. Next slide, please. Please play the video. This would be our app registration page, wherein you would need only to log in to create a profile for yourself. You will then be asked basic food questions and nutrition related questions, such as your location, to be used in our system. After completing that, you would need to be able to enter our homepage, which gives you access to our main features, such as the nutrition calculator, which takes relevant food inputs, such as the child age category or meal of day, to determine if the meal you're giving them is sufficient for their nutritional needs. There are other functionalities in this, of course, but with this in mind, next slide, please. Our focus during the first years of the newbie would be to increase our usability with partnering with humanitarian groups and nutrition internationals all over the globe. So as much as I'd like to talk about it some more, I'm running out of time. So this was Carl De Leon of D Boys Plus One, and thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Team D Boys Plus One. Okay, please, panel of jurors. Maybe Dr. Maria, please.
Okay, Carlo. What would be the unique selling point? There are a lot of similar applications out there, but why would we use your application?
Okay. So first and foremost, as mentioned, our target really is more on the rural areas. So what we wanted to make was something that could work both offline and online and on the go. That's why we wanted to make a mobile app. This would allow not only humanitarian volunteers, but also the families of far rural areas to be able to look into what are the nutritional benefits of what they're giving to their child and what more is needed. In the way that we are developing this app, we are trying to also showcase what nutrients should be the priority. For example, if they aren't taking milk, um, evidently that's one of the which is high in calcium. That is evidently one of the more important things for babies of 1 to 3 months. So we're trying to make it in a way that it allows even those in the far further ends away from city centers to be able to know more about nutrition for kids.
Okay, just a follow-up question. If I am a mother in a rural area, and let's say I have 5 children, with raising 5 children, I might not have time to consult an application. So, why? How will you encourage me to do that?
This is why in our sustainability plan we highlighted that we wanted to ensure that we wanted to make specialities with regards to partnerships with humanitarian groups. One such of which would be Nutrition International. We identified that we do want to help these children, but evidently it should be the parents doing the application using. But then you also have to realize that these are far rural areas wherein evidently like our group cannot reach. So we want to do that in a way that we instead empower those that are already doing the work. So groups like Nutrition International and other humanitarian groups are the ones we are focusing on marketing our product towards.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Maria. Dr. Borden, your turn, please.
Okay, yes. Let's say, for example, if I use your app, okay, and I'm in the rural area, and then what happens if in that area does not have the product from the store in the area that fit your nutrition program? Okay, how can you link all the food and product that will fit into your program? Because I have everything on my screen, everything look good, but then it's in rural area, the store around here don't have it. I mean, if you ship it in from the city, then cost a lot more money. I don't have money. How can I being using or participating in your application and make sure that the people who are using it get the nutrition that fit the program?
That's a great question. Thank you for that. So right now, during the at the start of our of the startup process, we wouldn't exactly be able to address that need of putting places where they can actually get food. What our app does rather is show them the needed steps, like you said. But what it also does is showcase nearby areas or also affiliated groups which could help with their concerns. In the long run, we wish to also um, present information with regards to government aid, which aims to help in these kinds of scenarios where they don't have access to the things that our app recommends. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Borden.
Okay, that's it. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Next, Ms. Lyris, please.
Yeah, I'm more like into the business model. Are you selling a consultancy or are you selling a product for improving the health of these children?
It's more about, I feel like, creating a system and an app for primarily humanitarian groups to be able to empower them to do their work in a shorter amount of time, right? When you think about the volunteers that they have, they're usually like people like us, like kind of young, and they want to make a difference, but they don't know how. Like earlier mentioned in the presentation, we were talking about like obviously instant porridge isn't enough for a child's meal, day-to-day meal, but then it's hard to explain that as a volunteer perhaps when you're in the area itself. So what the app does is it also allows the humanitarian groups a visual aid with regards to showing the main end users, the rural families, in perhaps what the effects are and what needs to be done with regards to this. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have competition in this landscape?
Right now, with regards to the way we do things, we're in you get to input your meals and the amount and showing specifically what nutrients have been satisfied and recommending other things. There is currently nothing in the market through our research that does the same thing offline.
Right. So if in that case, I'm getting that you are a free app, or are you charging this humanitarian group?
At the start, we would definitely pivot more towards like government support and more on the free side. But as time goes on, we feel as though there is a need to make it more sustainable for also us, the ones working on it. That's why we feel as though this app can also be expanded once our brand has grown into other age groups, such as the elderly market, which is one that has been neglected over time.
Okay, which country is your first target market and why?
Our first target market would be Indonesia, primarily because we made this idea because our Indonesian team member was the one who brought up that idea, and it really stuck with us. And then we did a lot of research on it, and we saw the um, dire state of things, right? And when you look at the process in which volunteers help these people, it could be said to be inefficient. Like there isn't always a doctor around, and in a country like Indonesia, with a lot of difficulties in terms of transportation, especially in the more rural parts, we feel as though this app could be the best solution for people that physically are there beside them, helping them in their day to day against zero hunger.
Right. I was just like, if you're, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Joris. Thank you, the boys plus one. Yeah. Okay, we are going to move on to the next group, and maybe I can borrow the apps for my diet plan. Okay. Next group is Team C United, and we have the 6 persons here. And yeah, please wait for a timer. Yes, please.
Good day, judges. Good day, everyone. I am Ivan, the CEO of Team C United, and we're here to present our idea. Next, please. Arif and his friends are from the river basin of the Chitarum River. Every day, they struggle with a need many other people take for granted: water. He is just one of the 26.9% of the river basin not connected to the area's water utility. His nearest hope: the Chitarum River is all but polluted. Next. Around 25 million people are served by the Chitarum River, with the river being polluted at 26.9% of the population with no water utility. 6.7 million people do not have access to the average 144 liters of water per day that an Indonesian consumes. Next. C United is here to present a proposition to address the issue and provide Indonesians in the Chitarum River Basin access to affordable and clean water for consumption. We bring you ClearPod, a home-based water treatment providing clean water at the comfort of your own home. Next. It is a concentrate composed mainly of aluminum sulfate and calcium hypochlorite, wrapped in a polyvinyl alcohol film packed in tents in an eco-friendly carton. Next, to use ClearPod, you need to drop 1 pot in 15 liters of water and stir it for 5 minutes. Next, after waiting for 15 minutes for the settlement of the sediments, you need to transfer the purified water to another container with a cloth filter. Lastly, you need to wait for 30 minutes for the chlorination to take place and kill all the germs. Next, for our implementation, our first phase will be partnering with our target local government unit and provide focus group discussion on the importance of clean water and capacity building for the water treatment for the residents. After that, we'll distribute the products to our chosen community and monitor the progress. Next, upon completion and application of possible improvements to our product, we will be partnering with regional and global organizations to reach the 6.4 million of the global population, 6.4% of the global population with year-round clean water shortage, and possibly expanding the use of our product to providing access to clean water after a typhoon, emergency rescue, and reach other remote areas without access to water treatment. In due time, we hope to commercialize our product for outdoor activities. As a team, we want to deliver the best solution to our target partners. With that, we'll conduct further research and development to shorten the purification process, improve our formulation to enhance skilled water quality, and expand our product to reduce costs. Because we believe in having access to clean water is a big success to your future. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Team C United. It's really nice. We have Muhammad Raihan here, Nicholas, Warapon, Sarun, Oliver, and Ivan. And we are waiting for the timers to on first before I give the time to jurors. All right. Yeah, please, jurors, maybe Dr. Borden first.
Okay, very simple question. How much do you think it will cost the product?
From our basic computation,
just rough idea, just
okay.
Figure.
Okay. The cost of production per pod will be 0.2 cents plus the other fixed costs in manufacturing.
So, what's ideal price to sell it? I mean, just
okay.
Come up with the number. I'm not looking for the exact number. Just a rough idea because you are gonna sell to, let's say for example, you're gonna sell to people in the rural areas, have much money, and how much does it cost? Yeah.
Our rough estimate for the selling of the 10-piece pack would be for around $3 to $5. $3
to $5. Okay.
For now.
Okay. So that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Borden. Nice, Dr. Regina, please.
Yeah. Is it part of your design plan to maybe have like different versions of the same product to accommodate different
markets? Yes, we plan to do that. However, due to the limits of the time that we had, we tend to focus on making it work for our initial target community.
Okay. Just to follow up on that one. Because you actually described quite a long process before you actually commercialize it. What is your indicator that you're ready? You're ready to move on to the next step, because there's a lot of like verification process that you described.
For our commercialization, at least before we open it to the market, we would like to make our product drinkable, of the drinkable quality, so everyone can use it. Because initially, what we thought of was just water for general use, for cleaning and for bathing and all of the similar activities.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Regina. And please, Ms. Liris.
Yeah, so for the product itself, how long it will take for me to clean my water, for example? I know that you explained the step, but how long it typically does for 1.5 liters of water?
Okay. Currently, our product will for our product you will need 1 hour to clean 15 liters of water. And as we mentioned earlier, we plan on trying to shorten that through research and development. But for now, that will be the cleaning time.
Okay. I did a little research. There's you have a competition called Aquapod. They've been selling their product quite massively. And how do you plan to compete with these bigger brands?
Okay. The one key advantage of our product is it promises to eliminate the waste that is produced by our consumer by producing a soluble pod that dissolves with the water. So Number one, it would decrease the waste produced by the consumer, so they won't be burdened by it. And as mentioned earlier, we plan on introducing other possible uses for our product in the long run.
Okay. Now you're going to focus on Indonesian market, or do you have plan to expand or other market first?
Yeah, right now we plan to focus on the Indonesian market, but as mentioned in the presentation, we plan to partner with regional and global organizations to reach the 0.5 billion people in the world who do not have access to clean water. And one case would be, I think, in India, where they do not have a proper sewage system. So in that case, their waste mixes with their groundwater, and that's the thing that they use, and it causes sickness to the people. That's just one example of the many other possible country of applications.
Okay, we still have time. Do you have any more questions, yours? No? Okay, so if there's no more questions, then please give a round of applause for Team C United. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's move on to Team B 2K. We have Gunaron, Jared, and his 5 other friends. All right, yeah. Please wait for the timers to on. All right, time's yours.
All right. So naturally, people are primed to think that higher income households generally pay more for their products. The things that they buy are pricier, the cost of living is more expensive, and their taxes are relatively higher. We are here to dispel this notion and advance the truth. 15% of a product's price stems from the cost of its packaging. So when goods are sold in tinier quantities, the cost of packaging adds up to more money spent. Who then does this directly concern? The government? No. FMCGs? Unlikely. They profit from this. So who's ultimately affected by this? The poor, the unfortunate, those in the peripheries who cannot afford bulk purchases and can only choose to spend frequently on sachets. From this, we realize not only do these plastics burn a hole in their wallets, but it also burns a hole in Mother Nature. But with any adversity comes an opportunity, which is exactly what our team has been able to identify. So next slide, please. Refill today, invest in tomorrow. Sachets only contribute to nature's sorrow. We are the team of 2K and we present to you our solution. Next slide, please. So for years, this has been a consistent problem in numerous communities. From this long-spanning problem, 2K has taken up the chance to make a difference. We're not just offering products or services, we're providing an environmentally and economically sustainable lifestyle. Specifically, we present Gecko 3D3. So how will all 3 products be deployed in 3 phases? Next slide, please. For preparation, we'll be needing ocular inspections by an R&D team, software developers plus graphic designers to launch our mobile application, an operations team to identify optimal routes for our e-vehicles to take, our PR team in order to spread the good word around local communities, and partnerships team to directly collaborate with local store owners. Next slide, please. Meanwhile, for its implementation, here's what we would be doing. Logistics supply team will actually place the machines inside the refill stores. Our mobile app will be launched in the App Store and the Play Store. E-vehicles assigned to particular locations will be visiting every 2 weeks. And lastly, for the overall local stores, they will take approximately 1 quarter. Next slide, please. Lastly, for the improvement and iterations, we'd be assessing refill stores to quarterly reports pertaining to profit, conversion rate, foot traffic, and other relevant statistics. Then we'll collect feedback from an integrated feedback function in our mobile app. And finally, assessing the profitability and route optimization of our e-vehicles. Next slide, please. So what exactly makes us stand out? First and foremost would be our location, our proximity. Second would be the fact that we're grab and go. There will be no long queues, and we're also affordable and sustainable. Next slide, please. For our prototype, here's what it would look like through different journeys our customers take. Next slide, please. This shows the customer's journey as they use our mobile app to place an order. Next slide, please. Meanwhile, this shows the journey if they visit the cart directly. Next. This shows how consumers can use the app if they use to check product availability. Next. Here's what it would look like if they went to refill stores and stations. And next slide. Finally, this is what our app UI would look like. Next. Here are then the 7 benefits that we offer to stakeholders. Next. Finally, we have to promote our product, our current marketing strategies.
Okay,
next slide, please.
Okay, time's up. Okay, thank you, Team B2K. And now we'll be forwarding the turn to jurors, but we are waiting for the timers to on. All right. Yeah, jurors, please. Maybe Dr. Bodin, please.
Okay, this is also interesting, but how you get people to involve, because I mean the process of getting involved, you can do it by not using the app. Okay, so why should I have to go to all trouble using application? You
So
understand?
definitely, yes. All right. So definitely what makes us stand out, it was mentioned in our unique value proposition, is that we're not just, we're not integrating a trade-off mentality where you have to use the application, because we provide this opportunity, or rather this option for our users. For example, if they go to the local stores, they have an option to make a cash transaction, especially for those less familiar with technologies. So that, because the primary reason why they're making this business in the first place, because you want to help local communities. And if they're not really familiar with technologies, we don't want to inhibit them from being able to avail of these products that are that are that cost lower, because they don't have really packaging. So they don't have to use the mobile app. It's more of them. It's more of just another means for them to check the availability.
Okay, that's it.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Bodin. Next, Miss Liris, please.
Yeah, so your product is kind of like a changing the way people do things typically, right? I think this refill station is quite I think it's quite well applicative in European market. In Southeast Asia, it's sort of like a new wave or a new movement. How do you plan on the marketing strategy, and how do you plan in expanding your geographical area? Because this is something that needs a physical operation, right? Because you manage a station. So how do you also expand from one city to another city? So your strategy, marketing, and that one. Thank you.
Okay. So for marketing, Aldo, would you want to take this, or should I get it?
Okay, thank you. I'm Aldo from Team B. Basically, our marketing strategy consists of three steps, which is awareness. We use social media to spread the information that we have this system, this refilling system that have two different ways of movable refilling station, and also we partnered with local stores that we partnered with them to make the refilling station. Also, the second step is the consideration step, which we spread the product information and availability through our social media, and also we make some free trials to make the product be visible to the consumers, and also strategies which we provide voucher for loyal consumers, and also provide discount for buying, and also we offer cashback for the cashless payment. So basically, this is our marketing strategies that we step on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Regina, please.
Okay, so I believe you mentioned that there is a machine, or like a dispenser. Is it actually a dispenser type of a machine that you intend to provide for those who want to get into this business? Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how will you address products that are highly perishable?
Oh, for the products that are highly perishable, well, we'll be sending maintenance team every 2 weeks to sterilize the products and to overall maintain the machine in order to make sure that nothing really perishes. And well, really, before we deploy these machines, we'll be investigating the products first. So we'll be preventing the possibility that, or rather, we'll be mitigating the risk of it actually perishing. Sorry.
Okay, and when we mention products, do you have any idea of what type of products you will be selling in your store?
Yes, ma'am. FMCG products in particular, those specifically in sachets and small quantity, small packagings.
Okay, how will you make it more community based? I mean, what will encourage our communities to actually go there instead of going to our usual stores? What
So first thing,
incentives do you have in mind?
First things, I'm sorry. All right. So first things first, we offer cheaper price since that was our primary goal in the first place. Since we don't we don't have really packaging, and we do acknowledge for a fact that some people may be apprehensive about it at first. So the reason why we're deploying an e-vehicle route, more of like a visiting system, is because we want to go to them first. And once we build our trust, once we build our relationship with our customers, they'll be trusting us enough to go to the local stores nearby, which we have transformed. So it's a step-by-step process, really.
All right. One last thing. What about the containers? I mean, that's my question. If we're going to a refillable store, I would need to bring containers, right? Is there any idea of how to maybe make it more community-based and motivate people to go to that store?
Definitely, we won't be requiring them because our plan here for our local stores is to also sell reusable containers, but we won't be forcing them to use it. They can use any container of their own, anything they want. Because if we made them purchase our own, it would be contrary to our primary goal, which is to really reduce costs for them. So to make it really community friendly, they can use their own containers. Definitely, we won't be charging them for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think our time is just up now. All right, thank you, Team B2K. And now we move on to our next group, which is our last group. Yes, please wait a minute for Team Fantastic
6.
Okay. Fantastic 6. Yes,
Yeah.
time's yours.
So the pandemic will end soon. Or next, will the pandemic end soon? I believe that all of us are affected by the pandemic, but let's take a deeper look at it. Next, Indonesia is facing its third recession thanks to pandemic and is predicted to face another minus GDP in Q3 this year. So how bad is a recession? In simple words, recession means chaos. Next, but we still have hope to fight this pandemic through vaccination to achieve herd immunity. The issue is 41% of Indonesians unwilling to take the vaccine, and the reasons vary, but they're all referring to the same thing: the result of lack of education and good communication to the public. Next. So we're going to develop a website to establish good communication to the public. Next. We call this indonesiabervaksin.go.id, a live transparent website that is simple, easy to use, and having short project time. Next. We're planning to reach 16 million monthly traffic. Next. And yet it is still visible looking at the performance of the existing website. Next. We did some competitor analysis and found a gap that we can fill to overcome the pandemic problems. Next, our business will have two audiences, the government and the public. The government will use our website to gather vaccine distribution data, while the public use it to find the nearest vaccine center. Next, here are some examples of our website UI. Next. Next. We found 5 primary stakeholders and 4 secondary stakeholders. Next. The primary stakeholders on the upper right quadrant will be engaged closely by us. Next. And the website will need 76 days to be launched and a total project duration of 254 days. Next. Our project will cost $103,000 and only consume 0.00088% of state expenditure on the health sector. Next. We did a 3x3 risk analysis matrix and conducted a thorough study. These are the top 3 major risks out of 36 and ways to prevent them. And the total risk cost is $26,000. Next. This project will accelerate the vaccination program, educate the public, and develop the open communication with the public. Next. So what if the COVID ends? Next. We can use this website as the personal vaccine record or sold it to the government or develop its application. Next. Despite the options taken, it is still a promising project due to 3 factors. First, there is a legal basis for electronic medical records. Second, the government wants to enhance the COVID-19 digital system. And third, the fragmented data will cause some problems. Next. This whole idea was started by a small group of youngsters named Fantastic Six. We believe that we can progress together through collaboration with the concern of mutual understanding to achieve sustainable output. Next, the pandemic indeed started with a single intangible virus, but it's our duty, next, to end this pandemic by stacking our tangible actions. Next, thank you, next.
Thank you very much. Fantastic
Thank you.
six. All right, next we are going to give the floor to the jurors, but we are waiting for the timers to on first. In Team F, Fantastic Six, we have Albertus, Bonsung, and also we have Rachapon, Pimondrag, JB, and also Hannah. Okay. Yes. Jurors, please, Dr. Regina, your turn.
Okay, for the those who don't want to get vaccinated, how will your product actually improve our problem on vaccine hesitancy?
Okay, so just one question.
That one
okay.
first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, there are 41% of Indonesian unwilling to take the vaccines for the data. And it is due to, I think it is due to lack of communication from the government. I mean, a good communication one, because right now, especially in the Indonesia government, is having, I would say, a not quite good communication in crisis thing. And I believe that by restoring or maybe revising the way the government communicate to the people, to the public, it will make up the problems for the unwilling vaccination people. Because I believe that they are not educated enough, so they won't take the vaccine.
Okay, and your assumption is that the public will go to your website to understand it better?
Yeah, for 16 million people.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss.
Thank you. Maybe Dr. Borden, please.
Yes, you state that 41% of the people are unwillingly to participate, okay, in getting vaccinated. So that means you need a strong marketing push strategy to get people to come in. But you are using the website to rule people in to get information. Are you consider using the basic technology such as SMS, or how do you go about it? Because people have to be willing enough to come to you to get into your website. So if you put the information on SMS on something like that to get into people, isn't that more easy or more appropriate or faster to get people to involve in knowing the information?
Okay, so do you saying that how is we reach more people? I mean, how do we communicate to our market? Something like that.
Right, something like that.
Okay.
Because you said people have to come to your website. I'm saying, don't you consider using SMS or other things, other method? Because other people are using application. Okay, but in your case, people have to come into website and
yes. Okay, so I believe that we will use omni-channel. So every channel for our marketing strategy will connect it to our website and refer to our website. And maybe we can use social media, website, government official website also, because we are partnering with the government and we can use their resources, the digital resources. And every maybe social media from the government can refer to our website. And to some others up, why we use the website is because by the data, it is 77% of people gather information from the website. It's not from the apps, it's from the website. That's why we focus on the website. And the second one why we focus on the website is because it's more simpler. It's also more accessible to all. You don't have to download it because it will have another boundaries if you have to download it, like boundaries to entry, something like that. So we will focus on the website, and maybe for the further development, we will develop our apps if needed.
Okay,
right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Borden. And lastly, Ms. Liris, please.
Yeah, You mentioned that you can sell your product to government, but why would government buy your product at the end? And why don't just they develop it itself? What makes your team stand out?
Okay. So I would say that maybe in terms of your questions, we don't have really a outstanding unique selling point and so on. But I believe that government will have another focus to be covered, like maybe in the infrastructure, and the pandemic itself, or maybe in the tsunami and earth gliding, tanah longsor, and other stuff. So I believe that it is just like a small short project. And I do believe that government should focus on a bigger project because they serve the people, they serve 2,700 million Indonesian, and they don't just serve websites for the smartphone users, just 16 million. And I think the government should focus its policy, its project to the bigger one, and leave the small one like this website to us.
Okay, so can you mention the stakeholder that you want to collaborate, maximum 3 stakeholders that you want to collaborate at the first time you want to launch this product? Who are the stakeholder that you want to collaborate with? I don't think that you can work this by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So we did a stakeholder analysis, and I believe the 3 main stakeholders is the government itself, because it is a government-centered project. And the second one, it is the logistics service like Indo Pharma, Kimia Pharma, Kalbe, and its subsidiaries. And the last one is the web developer, because it is a website. We need a developer, of course, to develop the web, because I don't have the capability of developing a web.
Okay, yeah, I think all of the jurors have raised their questions, and this is the end of our Gecko Challenge competitions. And I just thanks Team Fantastic Six for the best. I mean, for very good presentations. And I can just say wow, 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 because guys, you have delivered the best of what you can do within this 5 days, and all of your solutions are really amazing, from the insect bars to the healthcare and also education's water. It's really super duper nice. Congratulations to all. And that concludes this year Gecko Challenge competitions. Well done, everyone. Very well done. And now you can heave a sigh of relief. Phew. All right, that your work is finally completed. But I know you are still on pins and needles for the results. Okay, speaking of which, our jury will take the next few minutes to choose the winner. And as they deliberate, the rest of us will be privileged to hear a talk about innovation from our keynote speaker. Okay, and he's the president and CEO of Ignite House of Innovations, which invests and operates in venture capital, technology, media, education, healthcare, energy, hospitality, agriculture, HR, and enterprise solutions. So he covered everything that you covered today. And he also serves as the executive chair of NIG, the National Innovators Initiatives, which aims to empower 100,000 Filipino innovators by 2023. And he was born and raised in Manila and has degrees from Yale University, Fordham University, and New York University in the United States. And in 2009, the US government conferred on him the status of permanent residence on the basis of exceptional ability in the national interest. But being true blue Filipino, his heart remains in the Philippines. And in 2011, relocated back to Manila with his wife and 2 kids. Okay, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Andre Yap. Hello, Mr. Andre Yap.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah, it's really great to have you here. And
Everyone
please,
can hear me?
yeah, I can. Yeah, we can hear you very clear. And yeah, please proceed with your keynote speech. We are looking forward to hearing that. Thank you.
Very well. That's quite the transition from listening for the past better part of the past hour. Thank you very much to our. May I request the we should not be sharing the no visual, just me. We have this saying in the Philippines called KSP. It means kulang sa pansin. It means in English, I want all the attention to myself. So I will promise you one thing in the next 30 minutes. I shall not bore you 1 minute. How's that? Good? We have people here from France. I am very appreciative of hearing European accents again after so long. You can't imagine how beautiful it was to hear Emmanuel House from Montpellier with his French accent. Beautiful. I want to thank the event organizers. I am sorry if I cannot itemize between Gecko and Gecko itself is an interesting acronym that I cannot follow. But the Gecko event organizers, our friends in Erasmus, all our event organizers, Fitri, you've been wonderful.
Thank you.
Just so bubbly and so energetic. And in this Friday afternoon, it's really wonderful to have you. To our jury members who are very, very busy, I want to say shout out to Dr. Rina. We've crossed paths several times. May the force be with you. And I think these jury members of ours are must be members of the Avengers, to have that stamina to stay with all of us through the 8 teams now. To all the participating universities, the students, the faculty, in particular, I want to honor our sister countries, Indonesia, Thailand, and of course our compatriots from the Philippines. One thing that I didn't realize coming in here is that the teams were going to be inter-school and inter-country. No? So that's wonderful, fantastic. No? And I really saw the benefits of that. I think if I could check off on the top 3 benefits for the participants here, it would be that pushing them out of their boxes, out of their university boxes, out of their country boxes, and making them see maybe for the first time in their lives. Even I would be hard pressed to have this experience, to touch what ASEAN means, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. What does that mean? I think the privilege to these 8 team members, to these 8 teams, to be able to mingle and deep dive into fantastic problems of society across Thailand, Indonesia, and the Philippines is priceless. No? Finally, as a salutation to the 8 teams, to the 8 teams who took us from. It was an interesting way to start. Insect snacks, how about that? And then we had Elon Musk. That was a point of genius. To education, medical supplies. We had teams talk about malnutrition, clean water, refilling bendo machines, and last but not the least, a team that promises that the pandemic will end soon. No, so I want to congratulate all the teams. My favorite one, I'm not going to tell you. I'm gonna leave that for the judges, right? I had initially, I don't know if you got wind of the title of my talk today, but when the event organizers, Dr. Rizalinda and her team, asked me for, I believe, the title and 50 words, this is what I gave them. And let me start with this. Innovation. Let's shut up already and just do it. Let's shut up and just do it. And my 50 words were as follows. You will be amazed what you can do about innovation in the next 100 days. How you can jumpstart innovation, how you can make it a success for yourself, for your career, for your team or your company, and certainly for your country. And how to, most importantly, overcome natural impulses and bad habits so that you can stand out and be the exception who does innovation, not just talks about it. So there's a reason why so many of us just talk about innovation. And you know, when we gather together for conferences like this, with all due respect to everybody here, I did say I was not going to bore you 1 minute. With all due respect to everybody here, I consider this talking about innovation, right? Because doing innovation means when you get up in the morning, that's what you do. You're trying to solve an important problem that is important to you. And what I'm proposing is that let's just shut up already and let's start really doing innovation. The world has too many workshops, too many conferences, too many pitch competitions that talk about innovation and too little that really does innovation. And this is my proposition for you today in the next 25 minutes. Now, what's the reason why we would all just rather talk about innovation rather than just do it? There's two reasons, right? If you all know Shakespeare's Macbeth, there's a very famous soliloquy there where Macbeth, after discovering that his beloved wife is dead and that his enemy army is approaching, about to basically put him to death, he says this: "Life is but a walking shadow. It's a poor player that struts and frets his R upon the stage and then is heard no more." And this is the most famous line. "It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing." And that is, in my life in innovation in the last 15 or so years, I found that to be true. Innovation is a lot of sound and fury signifying ultimately nothing gets done, right? Why is this? There's two reasons. One, because, and let me use a metaphor here. Let me ask you this question, and you should ask this of yourself. Observe any newborn baby who turns into a toddler who eventually learns how to walk. Do they need to learn how to walk? Do they need to take lessons? Do they need to practice it? Yes, they do. But compare that with the experience of a basketball player. A basketball player cannot just naturally learn and get good at the skills of dribbling, passing, and shooting the ball. They have to, because basketball is not a natural human activity, whereas walking is, right? And I would tell you that innovation is not a natural human activity. In fact, it is very opposite to a natural human activity. A lot of what makes innovation successful turns out to be very bad habits when you compare it. Let me use another sports example. Between basketball and soccer or football, in basketball, it's good if you know how to use your hands, right? That's the discipline. In football, it's bad to use your hands. It's the same thing in innovation. We would all rather talk about innovation instead of practicing innovation, because innovation is very counter to our natural instincts. And I will tell you more about that as I carry on with my talk. Okay, so today I will not have any slides. They asked me for slides. I said no slides. Instead, I will tell you a story in 3 parts. Part 1 is called, let's put a title to this. Part 1 is called Once Upon a Time, an American Love Affair. So I came out of the closet. Listen to this. I came out of the closet in America. but it's not the closet you think about, right? I fell in love with innovation in the United States, and it became an enduring and singular passion of mine. So I came out of the closet, and I had finally had to admit to myself and the world that I was in love with innovation in the United States, okay? And this is the story of how it happened. And I will tell you this story by reading you some love letters from the past 15 years. First of all, so I was born and I was raised in the Philippines. I am of Chinese ethnicity, but I am a Filipino, full-blood. Up to high school, I went here. I lived here. Spent my first 2 years of college here, and then I went to the US and I got 3 degrees in the US. And I would like to start the first love letter from the United States government. You know, 2 weeks ago, as it happened, my wife forced me to clean up our closets. I live in Manila now since 2011. No? And this is a love letter from the United States government, the United States of America. And it says that they were conferring upon me the privilege of, this is the exact designation, permanent residence or green card on the basis of exceptional ability in the national interest. So that's where the story begins. And I would like to read for you the summation of what the US government thought about me. This was dated November 25, 2008. And the letter goes like this. The foregoing clearly shows that Mr. Andre Yap is a person of exceptional ability in the field of innovation entrepreneurship, insofar as his pioneering work contributes directly and in a critical way to the US national interest by making innovation entrepreneurship accessible to mainstream American society. Also, the regular labor certification process will be prejudicial, which means it will be disadvantageous to the interest of the United States because the current economic and financial crisis, remember this was 2008, demands entrepreneurial businesses to restart the economy immediately. Thousands of graduates in US universities will have a hard time looking for opportunities, whereas those who benefited from Mr. Yap's CubeEd program have started their own businesses, even while in school. So I'll end there. So this is what they were talking about, CubeEd. And I, with very fond memories, like looking at old love letters, if you could just really see, the pages are already yellow. This was circa 2006, no? And CubeEd stands for Center for University-Based Enterprise and Development. Center for University-Based Enterprise and Development. And what it was an outfit that I started for the US economy that combined university-based entrepreneurship, classes, curriculum, OJTs, on-the-job trainings, internships, with investors who would invest in projects while students earned curricular credits. No? So this is what the US government gave me a green card for. For context, the green card that they gave me would be similar to what they would give, for example, an NBA player from Africa, right? Or from Greece. You know, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the two-time MVP. He's from Greece. He gets to play in the United States, and his green card is permanent residence on the basis of exceptional ability. Mine was permanent residence on the basis of exceptional ability in the national interest, and it was because of this. Now, what's remarkable about this is the US government is giving me the benefit of staying in the United States over something that in 2006, I knew basically nothing, zero about. It started from, and even here's an even more yellowed piece of paraphernalia, a private investment opportunity that I was working on that had to do with private equity in education. That means investing in schools and evaluating an umbrella of investment opportunities in allied services in Philippine education. So basically what this is, it's a very thick study that I produced working with American investors to actually invest in Philippine schools. And when I looked into this, I realized that the problem with the business model of education is that we were producing graduates who were employable. And that's a problem because we live in a post-employment world where graduates cannot just be employees. They need to be entrepreneurs, meaning they need to be able to identify problems, frame problems, and identify solutions before their boss tells them, right? Entrepreneurship in this case doesn't mean you're your own boss. It just means you solve problems proactively. And I saw a problem in the education, the business model of schools, that they're graduating millions of students just to be employable. And I thought, no, we need to graduate students who are entrepreneurs. And if we're gonna do that, how are we gonna do that? And so I started CubeEd, the Center for University-Based Enterprise and Development. And a year later, another paraphernalia, almost just as yellow, 2007, we were rolling it out in universities across the US. And what I would like to share with you are letters, love letters, literally, that were submitted to the US government, the federal government of the United States of America, talking about how CubeEd was going to help Americans. No? This is a fascinating story. So I'm gonna pick out, there's many letters here. And as you can see, the years have blotted them out, etc. But I picked out three. One is a professor of mine from Yale University, who I eventually invited to my board. I am writing in support of Andre Yap's work in the United States, the continuance of which I strongly believe is critical to the national interest of the United States of America. I am writing both as an educator of global business at Yale, where I teach a predominantly international student population, and as a global business leader. I have worked on site with governments, Fortune 500, and nonprofit organizations on 5 continents, and write a monthly column for an international business journal. I also serve on the board of CubeEd, the Center for University-Based Enterprise and Development, and I've seen firsthand how Andre built it from a visionary idea to a thriving program that brings innovation alive in the hearts and minds, not just of students, but of faculty, alumni, and professionals in the university community. I believe in Andre's particular vision for university-based entrepreneurship, his insistence on 100% experiential learning over traditional top-down academic pedagogy, etc., etc. So that's one love letter. But I would like to share 2 more love letters that are from the most important constituents to me. And these are from the students, 2 students, American students, back in 2008, who benefited from what we started. I have spent the last 16 months working with Andre Yap and the CubeEd program, in which I have not only worked on developing a company or a business, but also learned valuable business characteristics far beyond the traditional classroom experience brings. Having been mentored by CubeEd and through my participation in a fast-paced, milestone-based, and detailed entrepreneurial program, I am now confident that my degree carries a lot more significant respect. In my recent job search, I was able to speak about the startup process, responsibilities I had, and the lessons I learned, which helped me dramatically in the interview and hiring process. In understanding the CubeEd milestones, I began to look into the process that I had seen and tried to relate it to my classes. Many aspects were similar. This insight led me to become a more involved student, a far more critical thinker, and a constant awareness for looking at both the overall picture as well as the details. As time went on, I began to reach milestones that made me more involved in everything in my life. No? More specifically, I believe the program has given me an opportunity that none of my peers have been able to experience. So this is from one student. I'll read from a last student, another love letter. CubeEd, founded by Andre Yap, helped me to define my goals as a human being and has continued to help me pursue my dreams even after graduation. I learned the process for building a business and disciplines that are unmatched by traditional education. CubeEd provided an atmosphere for me to experience creating a business by actually doing it while earning course credits. Andre, and I'll fast forward. No? Andre is an individual with a unique talent for connecting with people. He has a friendly but straightforward demeanor that gives him the ability to work with everyone, from venture capital investors to students. Andre reads people by stripping down words into raw meanings. He thinks freely and is open to ideas and counterpoise, but is unswayable in his values. The strength of the CubeEd program he has created comes from his eagerness to be a part of the process and building continuously. I feel that the program, CubeEd, that Andre has created is an essential service in protecting American innovation and global competitiveness. So I'll stop here with the love letters. There's a point here which has nothing to do, ladies and gentlemen, with promoting myself. And it has everything to do with you and your path to entrepreneurship. I will emphasize three things. In this first chapter of the story, I zeroed in on three things. Number one, the problems that I cared about solving. Number two, what was it in me that I brought into these problems purposefully, passionately, very deeply? And number three, who did I care about? Real human beings that I cared about. And I submit to you today. And by the way, to those of you, to the 8%ers today, let me tell you this. I was floored. I was very impressed, not by your ideas. Forget about your ideas. I was floored about the way you took questions, the way you kept your composure, and the way you carried on like a professional. For a college student, you have, I hope I can personally work with every one of you who presented today. Very impressive. But forget about your ideas. All right, because there is much more scrutiny that needs to be made to your ideas. Ideas are a dime a dozen, but talent and composure and values like yours, rare. I digress. But I do not digress because this is what I care about. I care about finding people like you and nurturing people like you. Fast forward, I go back to this letter. Remember, from the United States of America, dated November 25, 2009, effective January 2009. I was on my way to becoming an American citizen with a very privileged status of having exceptional ability in the national interest of the United States, the most powerful nation in the world. The problem is, by December 2009, a few months later, it was very clear to me I had to come home. Two reasons. First, my eldest son was about to go to high school. And by then, he thought he was American. And I needed him to understand, no, you are Filipino, and you are a very privileged Filipino, and you owe this country everything you have. And I wanted him to come back home. And then number two, listen to this, please. If the United States of America, the greatest country in the world, economically and anywhere else, any other measure, was willing to grant me this status and call me exceptional ability in their national interest, it was very clear to my mind and to my heart that my dear country needs me all the more. I will not stay in the US. I will come back home. I never had an American dream. I will come back home. So I submit to you again, ladies and gentlemen, the three questions. What do you care about? What are you going to bring of yourself, of the very best of yourself, into that which you care about? And third, and probably most important, who concretely, specifically, do you care about? Let me just say, of the 8 presentations I heard today, only one talked about a real human being. Everybody else talked about macroeconomics. Only one team talked about a real human being. And even then, they called him by Juan de la Cruz, right? Which is not really a real human being. But if you want to innovate, you have to have it deep in your heart. Who am I doing this for? Who am I doing this for? So part 2, I came back home to the Philippines. And if part 1 is entitled Once Upon a Time, an American Love Affair, part 2 is going to be entitled Ang Bayan Kong Pilipinas. That's Filipino. In English, the Philippines, my beloved homeland. I came home, and in the years since I started CubeEd, I have been involved in innovation, starting my own companies, products, new companies, and investing in new companies. 30 of them as of last I counted, which was about 5 years ago. We have investments and innovations in venture capital, in technology, in media, in education, in healthcare, in energy, in hospitality, in restaurants, in agriculture, in HR, in enterprise solutions. Futri read those to you in my bio. But something changed in the 3 things that I talked to you about. What do I care about? When I came home, I realized that I cared about something because home, it's a very different picture from the United States. At home, there are a handful, look at my hands. There are a handful of corporate giants and families who control the wealth and the corporate resources in this country. And therefore, whether I like it or not, innovation has to cooperate and collaborate with them. It's very difficult otherwise. We live in a so-called democracy, but in truth, in the Philippines, we are an oligarchy. And in an oligarchy, we need to work with those. Second truth that I realized, charity and philanthropy and corporate social responsibility is one of the greatest evils in the world. Why? Watch my hands. It allows wealthy families and powerful corporations who can impact society at level 10 to impact society at level 2 and to get away with it every year, year after year. And we are never going to solve societal problems that way. If the wealthiest, most powerful constituents of our society can get away with doing much less when they can do much more. The problem with innovation and problem solving is that the people who can do so much less, right? They give us their spare change. And what I worked on in innovation in the 10 years that since I came home in 2011, for good, brought home my family. I said to the US, thank you, but this is my country. I'm going home, right? And in the 10 years, what I've worked on is really changing the mindset in corporate Philippines that you cannot work with your spare change in solving the company's problem, in the country's problems. The way you build your companies, the way you create profits needs to be the way you build this country. You cannot build your company with innovations one way and then do good for the country with your spare change. It's never going to work. So that's what we worked on. And then, so you can see my advocacy changed. The answers to what I cared about, what I bring to the table of myself and who I cared about changed in the last 10 years that I've been home. Which brings me to part 3, the last chapter, which has no title yet, because it's people like you who are going to help me write this next chapter. It has a working title though, and it's called the National Innovators Initiative. It now brings innovation to a point where all of us can get involved. Big companies, wealthy families, but also students in colleges, much like what we have represented here today. So if I may ask our technology team to put up the slide. It's actually not a slide, it's a website that, okay, you can see my screen. This is NI2, the National Innovators Initiative. I will read now because it is too small. Yes, we will found startups, but so many more of us will be in big companies and MSMEs, small to medium enterprises. We will be in government offices, national to local. We will spring from schools, fresh graduates, alumni, and faculty. We will be citizen innovators. We will birth new solutions, products, services, systems, processes, workflows, and they will make a difference in business and society. So what we basically do, if I can ask our tech team to scroll down, is we run accelerators. And what we've realized is that innovation is not the same for everybody. There are people who will need a business accelerator. Why? Because they just need to launch new products, new services, new systems, and we help them launch this in 100 days or less. And then, watch my hands, there are a lot more people who need career accelerators. What does that mean? Their skills are outdated. There are millions of college graduates right now with fancy degrees who are going to graduate with all theory, but they are ill-adapted to the future of work skills. And there are 6 skills that we focus on, right? That have to do with innovation. So in career accelerators, the point is not innovation. It's about how do we give you 3 times the job offers and 2 times the income opportunities in your first 12 months out of college. That's our target for you. And the answer is, we're going to mold you into innovators. We have accelerators for mid-career professionals. We have accelerators for big businesses, for local governments, cities, and so on and so forth. What I would like to invite you today is, and this goes back to, we're wrapping up now, to the start of my thesis, my title, right? Innovation. Let's shut up already and let's just do it. These accelerators run in 30, 60, and 90-day cycles. And what they basically do, remember what I said, there are 2 things. Innovation is like basketball versus football. What's good habits in life is bad habits in innovation. We're going to help you unlearn that. How? 0 workshops, no preaching. We will make you practice it. And in the process, you will launch. So the 8 teams today, you will launch, I promise you, something very different from what you have talked about and dreamed about today. Because a lot of what you have talked about and dreamed about today are fundamentally flawed. Let me promise you that. Let me guarantee you that. What is not fundamentally flawed is your promise and your potential as human beings. Ask yourself the same 3 questions. And if you can answer them with conviction, then you have the makings of a promising innovator. Number 1, what do I care about? No, really, what do I care about? It's not what the research tells me. What do I care about? in Indonesian, in Thai, in Filipino, you can ask yourself in your native language. In Filipino, the question would be, bakit ako gumagising? What do I wake up for in the morning? What do I really care about? And it's not something that research from McKinsey or the United Nations can tell me. That's the problem you're going to solve. Number two, what are you going to bring of the very best of yourself to that problem? That is why I took pains to read the letters and what they said about me. It was not to aggrandize myself. It was to share with you, what am I passionate about? What am I good about in life? Because you know what? That's what I'm going to bring into the problems that I care about. That's the second. The third, who do you care about? This is the essence of service. Who concretely do you care about? I already told you mine. I love Americans. It was for 10 years my home. But who do I care about? I care about my fellow Filipinos. And in particular, I care, to be honest, not about the problem owners. We have gazillions of Filipinos who are problem owners. They are dirt poor, they have no education, they have been pointed out by several of our teams to have malnutrition, no access to clean water. That is not where my compassion is, not the problem owners. My compassion, who do I care about? That I will give the very best of myself, not the problem owners, but the problem solvers. That's why I'm here, despite it being an hour and a half after the time they told me I was going to start. That's why I'm here with you, so passionately sharing with you my Friday afternoon. Because I want to, again, I go back to the 8%ers. You are wonderful human beings. You have so much potential. I want to be able to work with people like you. Who are you? You are the people I care about. You are the problem solvers. You come to our accelerators, and in 30-day cycles, in 100-day cycles, we will make you, and we will invest in you if you merit it, right? But we will bring all the things you talked about in 3 minutes today under time duress into reality. We will birth solutions that make the world a better place through what you care about, through what your talents and passions are, and through who you care about. And if I may ask the presenter, the technology team, to click on this little underline, find the NI2 for you. We'll have a little call to action. Yes, if you could click on that, please. Okay, when you click on that, there will be, okay, a carousel. No, click on that, okay. Now, I would invite the audience. There are those of us here who are launching products. If you could click on the right arrow, please. There are those of us here who are just in college, just want a career start. There are those of us here who are in big business. If you could click the right arrow, please. And so on and so forth. My point is, click the button, the blue button that says join day one. It will be August 3, and we can continue this journey then. Don't you worry, it's free and open to everybody, right? Yes. So wherever you are, we have a program for you that will allow you to just shut up. Stop attending conferences, stop doing pitch competitions, do the real thing. Start innovating. Just do it. All right? It's Friday afternoon. I'm sure we're all waiting for the winners. I am grateful for the opportunity to share my story with you, share my passion and purpose with you and my advocacy. I hope to see many of you in day one. Go through the site. It's fascinating. There's a reference to Jeff Bezos and Amazon and what day one means. The site is called restart.ph. If we could have a member of the audience, please just type it in. Actually, I will do that right now. Panelists and attendees. If I could ask my teammates to please, who are here, to please type the URL restart.ph so that everyone can figure out how to join day one. With that said, I am very grateful for the time that you have given me. I believe there's a Q&A portion if we want to do that.
All right. Okay, yeah, thank you, Mr. Yap. What an inspiring talk about innovations. Shut up and just do it, right? And solve an important problem.
Fitri,
Yes.
one more time with feeling.
One more time, okay. Shut up and just do it.
There you go.
Okay. Solve an important problem that is important to you. So ask yourself, all of us here, what do I care about? Second, what are you going to bring with the best, very best of your talents, of yourself? And the third one is, who do you care about? You know, Mr. Yap, I got goosebumps and I was about to cry when you say like, I'm going home for good. It's so touching for me, myself, like I was feeling the same thing, like, you know, some years ago, and I was like about to cry because I hear it from you. Thank you so much for bringing up these issues and for bringing up, you know, our spirits to go back to our hometown and then do whatever we can do. What do we care about? Give our best, and who do we care about? Thank you very much. And next, a round of applause, please, for Mr. Yap. And now we are ready to open the floor for your questions and answers. And I'm going to see if we have any questions here. All right. Although I think this question has been answered, but I will just read it through. I was able to attend day one, wherein you introduced the NI app, which I think provides a more concrete way for revealing the multiple facets of a problem or need as you go through the hurdles. I think it is an excellent platform for students to use for problem solving and innovations. If I wanted my students to use your app, how would they access it? And how would interested students in this webinar have access and learn more about NI2? Although you have already
Okay.
write it down, right? Yeah, maybe.
So that's great. Thank you to the one who to the person who presented this. So I think this is a great question. We have to build deeper. There's a simple answer to this, right? But apps are apps. Technology is technology. And the reason why I would say, if you want to access our app, our technology, I would tell you the first step is not to do it. The first step is to join us in day one. Watch my hands. Because the app is simply a tool. What you need is the context. And what you need is the human and community context to be able to understand how to use an app so that it will achieve your impact goals. No? So I could answer you right now, okay, go to the app and here's the URL, but I refuse to do that because it will not serve my purpose or yours or society's. What you need to do, and I will insist on this, go join us on day one. And if you cannot join us, sign up still because we will send you the postcard. A postcard is what happened in day one, the full video, the highlights, the quotes, the characters, so you can experience it if you missed it. Within that context, you will find it easy enough, like 1 + 1 = 2, to find your way to the app. But I refuse to give you the app right now because it is out of context. And things that are out of context are dangerous, right? Especially for students or people who don't have too much experience. They think technology or an app or engineering can solve the world's problems. No, it's compassion. It's the human context that will help you navigate your way towards impact. Anybody else who tells you anything different is fooling you.
Okay, that's really wow. Okay, so it's not about the technology, it's not about the applications, it's not about the websites, it's about you. Okay, that's really great.
It's about you and the three questions you.
The three questions that we raised. Okay.
Very well pointed out.
That's really great. Okay. Any more questions? all participants? Yes, there is another question from Fantastic Six. I acknowledge that being an innovator is not a smooth way. Half of startups fail in year one and 90% on the following years. Okay? What my question is, when do we need to stop innovating and working on in our current ideas and pivoting to another idea? Okay, that's the questions.
Okay, there's two answers, or there's two lenses at which you can answer that. The first lens is the personal lens, and the second lens is a market lens. So I'll take the first. I'll address the two, and I'll really take this from the point of view of somebody who is trying their best and blood, sweat, and tears trying to innovate, to solve a problem. The first is personal. You have to stop or to pivot when you cannot answer the three questions anymore. You know, when you deep dive into the daily war on battlefields of, you know, bringing an innovation to life, you sometimes lose, you very often are going to lose sight of the forest because you're so deep into the trees, right? And if you are at a point where you're questioning, should I continue? What should I do? You should go back to those three questions. And if you still can say, I can continue because I still have 110% solid answers to these three questions, or any one of these questions is able still to propel me forward, then you go on. That's the personal point of view. And at any point, honestly, and I would challenge these 8 teams. I listened to them today. They sound like fancy. I doubt that any of them really care about any of these problems. Honestly, they sound like fantastic macroeconomic, sexy problems. But I doubt if any of them have any real empathy to these problems because they're so divorced from the problems. I mean, I don't see any of these participants malnourished, right? And if you don't have empathy for the problem, you're just not going to care for it enough. It's going to be an academic, theoretical, you're going to be divorced from it. And when you're divorced from a problem, you are not going to have enough grit. Solve it through. I'm not talking here about a general rule. I'm talking about, I mean, just take it for your own self. Okay, the second question is, when does the market dictate that you need to pivot, right? This is a question. Remember, I talked about bad habits and opposite human impulses. Like in soccer, holding the ball is bad, but in basketball, holding the ball is good, right? There is a practice in innovation that's very foundational that says you've got to stop planning, throw away that stupid business plan, rapid prototype, get things into the hands of users, and let users tell you by their words, and more importantly, by their behavior, if your solution works or not, or what about your solution works and what about it doesn't work. If too much of your solution is not working, is like irrelevant, as you can see, to your users because you're rapid prototyping, then obviously you need to shift. But the fundamental point there, and this is what we practice you in, right? You have to do it. You can't just talk about it. Throw away your PowerPoint presentation. It's useless. You have to start prototyping and getting your app into the hands of people who are managing these malnourished customers or beneficiaries and see how they're using it or not. Everything else is just a stupid fantasy and you're wasting your effing time.
All right. I was speechless for a while. Okay. Thank you very much for the answers, for the sharp answers, Mr. Yap. It's really been
experience.
Yeah, it's been pointing to the heart, And actually, I have another questions, but maybe the answer will be very long. Like, how do we build empathy? That's it's not easy, right?
No. That's like, what's the meaning of life? It's like asking that question. How do we build empathy is exactly what we tackle when we do the 30-day cycles. remember what the thesis was. Stop talking about it, just do it. When you start doing it with us, you will start to practice empathy. So we actually built this full-fledged app called the Empathy Project. What does it do? It trains people, it forces people to talk to another person, another human being who represents their customer, and it gives them flashcards through an app. And the flashcards serve up questions. And the questions have nothing to do, let's say you work for McDonald's, right? And let's say you're trying to innovate a better drive-through experience to buy hamburgers, right? The app doesn't ask you, hey, customer, how do you buy hamburgers better? No, it asks you, hey, what do you care about in life? What's the highlights of your day? What's the lowlights of your day? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? What are your biggest concerns? It serves you flashcards about that. It gets you to understand customers as human beings, as whole human beings. That is empathy. Empathy is not, it's not focusing on the transaction of burger drive-thrus, right? There's this thing in human-centered design thinking and innovation called CX, customer experience. And that's the kiss of death. Because when you treat a customer as a customer, you're not treating them as a human being. You are shutting off empathy because you're just saying, no, I only care about how you buy burgers. And let me tell you, you cannot innovate because guess what? All the 7 other burger chains are going to be focused on how to buy burgers better. The team that says, no, I want to understand who this human being is, who is buying burgers. Maybe they're part of a husband and wife team that both works and they're rushing home from rush hour to be with their kids. And they have guilty feelings because they don't spend time with their kids because they're trying to earn double income. You see, it's very different from, hey, I think we should order first and have goods. It's empathy is not this. Empathy is this, whole human being. And there's an art and science to that. It's not magic. We can bring empathy to 10,000 people in a company. We can do that. But we will not do that by having the CEO get in front of their workforce and say, we need to have empathy, right? Sure. Let's stop, let's shut up.
Just do it.
And just
do it. Okay. All right. That's really cool. Okay. I think me, myself, I also need to learn from more Mr. Yap about how to build more empathy. And also we can, spread this, empathy to our students, like especially for all of the lecturers here. And do we have another questions? Okay, I think that's all the questions that we have today. All right, so yeah, that's all the time we have for the Q&A. But before we let our special guest go, on behalf of the organizers of the 2021 Gecko Challenge, I would like to present this humble certificate of appreciations. The certificate is awarded to Mr. Andre Yap for sharing his valuable knowledge and experience during closing and awarding ceremony of the Gecko Challenge. Given this second day of July 2021, signed Rosalinda De Leon, PhD, Head Gecko Summer School Committee, and Camille Pernell, Gecko Project Coordinators. I know that Mr. Yap said it's not really important. The important thing is that what you can give the students and what you can give to us today. But before you go, is there any final message to our students that they need to keep in mind throughout their entire life? Yeah, please, Mr. Yap.
Wow, Fitzy, throughout their entire life.
Yeah.
Let me just say that you mentioned the word humble. I am humbled to be. I did say a lot of things that say, don't do this, shut up already, stop attending workshops and all that. But really what we care about is innovation is about solving human problems and societal problems. I already tipped my hat off to the 8 teams and the 8 presenters And I have a running joke because having grown up in the Philippines, 7 out of the 8 presenters, I could detect their accents, and I know which particular school they came from in the Philippines. I tip my hats off to all of you because you have great promise as human beings. I don't have much respect for your ideas, to be honest. Because imagine if you had spent your 3 minutes, let me offer this. If you frame the right problem, there are so many infinite number of ways to solve the right problem. But if you jump into the features of your solutions and start to talk about the features, the business model, how you're going to make money, when you do not have the fundamentals down pat of who are the human beings you are solving for and what are their real pains, then it is useless to talk about anything else. And I would just like to appeal to all our participants here. Ask yourself, what do you really care about? Honestly, when you wake up in the morning and you look at yourself in the mirror, it's not what the UN says. It's not what McKinsey report says. It's what you care about. And go with that. And understand who is the real human being. If you can name them by name, that's empathy. And then you will find what it is in yourself that is good, that will always be good, that you can offer to that problem. And this is the real fuel of innovation. It is not technology. It is not engineering. It is not Elon Musk. It's not what any article says. It's not what any venture capitalist says. It's human. What do you care about? What do you love? What are you prepared to give out of yourself? If you can find that, then nobody can stop you. You don't need me, but I'm here to help you anyways. And we're all here to help you. I think that's what would make this Friday afternoon worth spending with all of you. And again, Putri, you're a wonderful host. I'm glad that we were able to share this experience. And again, to all of us, especially to those brave souls from Europe who joined us today. I know it's very early in your neck of the woods. Thank you very much. And I hope the brilliant thing about what we've done here is really the inter-country, inter-school collaboration. What a wonderful execution. So bravo on that. And let's treat this as a prototype and get better at this. No? I think the last point is, if for whatever reason you want to get in touch with me, we're another aspect of innovation, very collaborative, right?
Yeah.
ANDRE, I would ask my team members to just write down my Ignite House email. So we're publishing it. I have a very strong personality. I speak my mind. But if you have something intelligent and sincere to say, I'm here. I would love to hear from you. That's what I would end it with. Thank you, Futri.
Again, thank you very much for your time and for sharing with us your valuable experiences, insights, and visions. Another warm applause of another warm round of applause for Mr. Yap, please. Okay, I was like so speechless, and then like it's hard for me to start talking. Thank you so much, Mr. Andrea. Thank you. So guys, are you all excited to know who won the 2021 Gecko Challenge? I am too, all of us too. But we will get to that in about 10 minutes. At this point, we'll be handing out to the certificates of participations to our students and mentors. Hey, all right. Yes, we'll be having the certificates. Yeah, the certificate acknowledges that the students have successfully completed the Gecko Challenge Summer School, held virtually on June 28th to July 2nd, 2021. Given this, second day of July 2021, signed by Dr. Rizalinda De Leon, head of Gecko Summer School Committee, and Camille Parnell, Gecko Project Coordinators. And here are our teams. Team H, we have Natako Chun Transit. Then we have Pratana Lotianan, John Andre Chua, Aulia Givari Nurlis, Yudo Christine, yeah, and also Kirk Angelo Manuel Galarita. Okay, thank you, Team A. And Team B, we have 2K. Here we have Kunanon Jarat. And we have also Pong Pamon Magdum. We have also Robin Jerome Banta. We have also Muhammad Abian Raf Hardiwinata. We have also Geraldo Primadana Haskaryo. We have also Franco Miguel Dapula. And we have Team C, the C United. We have Muhammad Raihan Diaksa. And we have also Nicholas Sidarta. And also Warapon Mukdahan. Sarun Patum. Oliver Roy Mangosing. Ivan Joseph Gonzalez. And that's from Team C. And Team D, D Boys +1. We know the one, the girl here. We have Hilmi Aji. And also we have Leon Tandela. We have Natapong Renusin. We have Tanya Charm Chum Wong. We have Rafael Carlo de Leon. And we have Brain Mel Wallach. Okay. And this is Team D, the boys +1. All right. Next, we have Team E, Cuties. We have Hassan Al-Ashari. Yeah. Sirapop Sword Pasit. We also have Suchaya Rotwatan Nabun. Nathim Suksai. What a beautiful girl. Gary Mike Gubantes. Tyrone Cedric D. Yeah, that's for Team E. And Team F, we have Fantastic Six. We have the first one, Albertus Alfero Tankilisan. Okay, next. Bunsong Wilarian. Next, we have Rachapon Tachanan Sopon. We have Pimon Rex Sawang Sawat. We have also JB Juwalo for Team F, Fantastic Six. And we have Hannah Monique Madera. And next for the Team G, we have Rosa Aldita, Team Titans, and also Konchawat Wansanuk, Isia Potiracha, Leonard Paris, Angel Jude Bryasos, Glenn Delarose, and we have Team H Jarvis, Adi Winata, Dison Yim Yam, Nutanon Tanomjit, Sheena Star Ines, Carl Andrew Olivier, John Dave Santos. Yeah, that's all for the teams, and you guys are invited to join Mr. Andre Yap, right? Okay, and also next, we would like to proceed to awarding of certificates for our mentors. The certificate is presented to the mentors. The certificate is presented to the mentors for sharing their valuable knowledge and experiences as mentor during the Gecko Challenge Summer School, held virtually on June 2028 to July 2nd, 2021. Given this second day of July 2021, signed by Dr. Rizalinda de Leon, head of Gecko Summer School Committee, and Camille Parnell, Gecko Project Coordinator. Okay, let's do a roll call of all mentors. Okay, we have Dr. China Woodbipat Pankul, And also we have Mr. In Touch Anu Punswang. We have also have Dr. Juta Pichit Lamken. We also have Dr. Khairul Umma. We also have Mr. Paulo Guillermo Agloro. We also have Mr. Yarabisa Yanwar. And also Mr. Franklin Ray Pacquiao. And lastly, Miss Mary Rose Delacruz. Of course, many thanks to the mentors, and we would like to show acknowledgement with gratitude to our teacher and also facilitators. Okay, the certificate is presented to the teacher facilitators for sharing their valuable knowledge and experience as teacher facilitator during the Gecko Challenge Summer School, held virtually on 28th of June to July 2nd, 2021. Given this in second day of July 2021, signed by Dr. Rizalinda de Leon, head of Gecko Summer School Committee, and Camille Panel, Gecko Project Coordinator. Okay, yeah. We have Dr. Araya Florence here, and also Dr. Itisak Paupo, and Dr. Tanongsak Tepsonti. We also have Andika Pratama, PhD. And we have yours truly, Fitri Trapsilawati, myself. And also Dr. Herianto. And we have Miss Ingrid Yvonne A. Madriel. And we have Miss Raquel Olpop. We also have Mr. Justin Jesse Seranilia. And we have Mr. Tanin Satana Wisuk. And also, lastly, we have Dr. Juta Pichit Lamken. Now, the summer school would not have been possible without the wonderful cooperations and hard work for the summer school committee. And I would like to mention Dr. Rizalinda de Leon, Professor Rizalinda de Leon, Ms. Alice Momon, Dr. Pilar Rodriguez Aracon, and Dr. Andika Putra Pratama, Dr. Fitri Tapsilawati, which is myself, Dr. Chanong Saktapsonti, Mr. Geoffrey Jeroche, Dr. Araya Potison Florence, and Ms. Raquel Clementina Olpak, and also Ms. Ingrid Yvonne Madriel. All right, at this juncture, we would like to acknowledge the hard work of the logistic team from the UP College of Engineering, the UP National Center, and the Ateneo de Manila University. So thank you very much, Assistant Professor Justin J.C. Seranilia, Dean Louis Dumlau, Dr. Millie Ann Tamayo Kike, Ms. Berenice Zamora, Mr. Erwin Gaps Gabriel, yes, and Miss Arlendic Ocampo and Miss China Palconite and Miss Carla Roxas. Okay, the jurors, I think, are back here from their deliberations, and before they give us the news, we would like to acknowledge their hard work this afternoon. Okay, this certificate, let's also present certificate to jurors. The certificate is presented to the jurors for sharing their valuable knowledge and experience as jurors during the Gecko Challenge Summer School, held virtually on June 2028 to July 2nd, 2021. Given this second day of July 2021, signed by Dr. Rizalinda de Leon, head of Gecko Summer School Committee, and Camille Parnell, Gecko Challenge, Gecko Project Coordinator, sorry. Okay, the first juror is Dr. Maria Regina Justina. Second one, Ms. Liris Maduning Tias. And lastly, we have Dr. Bodin Rasamitis. And thank you once again to all of you for the time and effort you put to make this such a rewarding endeavor and resounding success. And students, now the moment we'll have all been waiting for this past 2 hours. But before that, I would like to inform you students that each member, each person of the winning team will receive a laptop, a Dell Latitude 3420 laptop. Okay, I think you can go back and work so hard with this laptop. Okay, and now to announce the winning team, I now turn you over to the head of jury, Dr. Bodin Rasamitis. Please.
Okay. First of all, we would like to thank all the participants in the program. Okay, everybody has done such a great job, but definitely there's only one winner. Okay, so I will announce the winner of the competition. Okay, and the winner is Jarvis H, Team H. Okay, Team H. So thank you for participating on the event.
Congratulations, Team Jarvis. Congratulations, Team Jarvis. Thank you, Dr. Bodin Rasamitis, for letting us know who's the winner of today's event. And congratulations, Team Jarvis. Your innovative solutions is really amazing and targets the problem we're all facing. Again, congratulations, guys. And actually, all of you are winner, and all of you can do something. Just do it. Just shut up and do it, right? Shut up and just do it. Okay. And now that officially concludes the 2021 Gecko Challenge. Thank you again to everyone who participated and made this virtual edition a success. Thank you, students, mentors, teacher facilitators, partners, jurors, and to our guest speakers. Terima kasih, kopunka, salamat, merci, gracias. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of 2021. Keep safe, everyone. Woo! Further, I would like to encourage everyone to answer the feedback form. Your feedback will be highly appreciated as this will help us ensure that the future online trainings with us will be, running as good as possible. And the feedback form will be emailed to all the participants shortly. And so please do check on your registered emails. Okay, and I think there is one more thing that we need to do, taking a picture. Okay, all right, before we go, we would like to take some pictures with all of you. Everyone, please turn on your cameras because this is going to be the proof that we all attend the Gecko Challenge and we all see the innovative solutions, and the most important thing is that we see the passions that you show us today. Okay, let's tag team, please. All right.
Did you know the strong economic growth in Southeast Asia is creating